3, 2, 1.
Light them up.
I'm Paul.
This is Buck.
This is the Paul and Buck Show.
Hey, the big Buckin deal. Here is download the latest app at paulandbuckshow.podbean.com.
Okay, guys, we're back. I am Buck.
This is Paul.
Got Paul. And we're going to catch up. We're back. We've been on delays for
Been a while. Little sickness here, little
yeah, there's a little bit of
movement.
everything going on. There's there's been people out sick, people rescheduled. We moved into another location.
Yeah.
There's things going on, which we've been here for about a month.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's about a month. About a month we've been out.
We're still getting back slowly, but we're gonna get back on track. We got guests scheduled, and a
lot of backtrack that we need to catch up on, and we probably won't even be able to touch on it. But
I would say there's probably so much we could touch on. I kind of forgot about a few
we'll
things.
just hit like every 2 minutes.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there's been a lot of things going on. There's been a lot of races. There's some
three races.
Three races going on. Events going on. There's we're getting into the spring times coming around, so there's gonna be a lot of things popping up here and locally, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be some racing. Though there's gonna be some car shows, roundup, ton of things coming on here within the next probably 4 weeks.
And I normally hit the show, but we got rid of our truck, so we haven't been able to hit a show because now we need a.
I do see they're having the Pistons in the park. That's this weekend, I think. That's Sunday.
Yeah, the Round Rock show was a while back.
Yeah.
We didn't hit those, but
yeah, like I said, this is a new year. We said we were going to hit the ground running, but like I said, things happen.
dude,
The allergies. I'm still kind of nasal right now.
Yeah, don't say allergies. I start coughing and shit.
No, it's been
Just hearing it, I'm already choking up.
Yeah, but anyway, so we're all getting back into, I guess you could say 100%. But
we're here. So for all you guys that were asked, when are we going to do another podcast? And I've been telling y'all we have some. We do have a few that are unedited and edited. And this is one of the ones that we actually had 2 planned for this week. But again, due to the
people
the
were
weather.
sick. And so yesterday it was bad weather. We were going to do something yesterday.
Out of nowhere, right? The weather came up. And we have a new guest, by the way, and we're going to bring him on in a little bit.
We just wanted to kind of get everybody up to speed,
right?
Because it's been a hot minute since we had an episode come out, but we have some lined up. We just need to cut them up.
Yeah, we've been
editing them, and then we got some more lined up. Like I said, things happened like the past week. I mean, there was just like a lot of things that kind of snowballed and didn't come up to fruition.
Yeah, we tend to hit a lot of drag racing, car shows in between, and then we also like to bring on the local people that have shops and or just do
and hot rods,
cool stuff, man.
And hot rods, and
so that's what we bring on. So you don't want to always get drag race stuff because some of the guys sometimes they're busy working on their cars or busy with their personal lives because they all have full-time jobs. So so that's just the nature of it is. But we do tend to bring you all a variety
a little bit of everything, right?
Because if not, man, it's not a successful thing in car land.
We gotta get everybody included, especially here locally. Like I said, that's a big thing. A lot of guys, a lot of people we know, a lot of people we're probably going to talk. We probably know a whole lot of folks in the area or in the community or even just in the hot rod world and whatnot. And,
right.
And so, but moving forward, like I said, I think we do have. You can roll into a few things. Did you have some things lined up?
Well, I wanted to bring up a few things. For one, I didn't get to hit the last 2 drag race events. But in between those drag race events, man, the whole thing that we kind of bring in every now and then is that street crap that ruins the word street racing and all. They really messed it up, and we were meant to talk about it.
Yeah,
we had tried it at the beginning of the our shows to show the importance of how it would impact one day, and it finally did. It finally caught up with us. Well, not us personally, but it caught up with the Central Texas area, and now there's a state task force that is going to hit hard on any kind of street racing, and so who knows how that's going to go. I mean, it's been announced, but
we were going to talk about that. Like, so there was something that happened. I guess it's been a couple.
It was on Barton Springs.
Those 2 events that happened at takeover. At that, there was a big
firecrackers, beating up on the police cars.
It was a mess, and that just kind of what we always talked about. That there's always just that one.
And the news called it street racing. I mean, I was like,
that's totally.
Upset.
it's totally getting the wrong rep for people who just want to go out. And again, there's a clique that got their own thing, that they do their thing. They don't mess with nobody, which is, we're all for it. But when you have this other generation that, they
outlaws.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't see how they think that's okay just to go over and have cars sit back there caught up in traffic jams. They're over there doing their shit.
Run somebody over, wreck the
people
car.
Over. They're fucking up.
Hit the junkyard on the weekend.
Dude, I mean, yeah, it doesn't.
Get another fender and show up again.
It does not make sense.
No, it doesn't.
But again, like I said, it tarnished.
It finally put a dent. It put a dent, and it caught the news, and I heard it in the morning. I heard it on the local TV news. And here's the thing: they were all calling it these street racers.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of that kind of irritated me, because that's not street racing. Drag racing was a speed contest between two cars from A to B. That's what that was. And and back in the 1950s when this was happening, they weren't. They were calling it juvenile delinquents because they were doing chicken races. They were doing. Chicken races was one car gets on one side of the road, the other car gets on the other end of the road, and then you go 100 miles an hour and see who turns first. And that was a real thing. So like these guys today doing this takeover in the center of a four-way.
Right.
These guys back then were doing let's do. There was like another event where they run in between all the neighborhood streets, and it was kind of like a mouse chase.
Yeah. And
there was one instance, and that's when they finally drew the line. I think this was like in New York. They hit a little girl, and that really screwed up the whole hot rod scene, and that's when you see all those little news things that you see with
it's very sensational
with our deal of old traditional hot rods. Today we just kind of see it as a memorabilia on the internet, but that was real. People really were getting hurt, and it kind of looks like it's coming back around again. Like the juveniles today don't know what it is to be in a car and actually respect the car. They're actually hurting people. The last one I caught on YouTube or Instagram, wherever, man, this car just plowed into a girl. The girl went flying up in the air. She lands on her side. I don't even know if she can even walk. The guy continues. He plows into, I think, a motorcycle or something, and then some dude out of nowhere pulls out his ring and auto, man. He just tat tat tat, and he just starts laying on the. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to go see that?
I mean, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense because, like I said, it's that generation that they got the mom and daddy's car. They don't have to pay for tires. They ain't got anyway.
They might be even stolen.
It might be because the clowns that went through and did the incident when they high speed pursued them, they found guns and drugs and all kind of other stuff in that car. So anyway, so it does make a bad name for that. Like I said, it's not even association to what we do. So I mean, I hear you. Like I said, it came to a point where it's going to get. Yeah. I mean, we just got to do our part and just do what we got to do.
Right. Now, back in the early 2000s, Texas and other states,
there you go.
They did introduce some laws. Now, they've been lazy on them. Well, California wasn't. California was taking cars.
We talked about that because in California, I also remember too when you was a 3-strike. Yeah, they would crush your car.
They would. Yeah,
Fast and the Furious.
You remember that? Right. Yeah, exactly. And you're not the first one to say it. You're not the first one to say it. We've had other people come on and
that's
say
exactly what it is. And like I said, so and even here in Texas, that was kind of a thing. Like I said, they got lenient. That was a thing back in the 90s.
If you chirped on a green light, they could pull you over and screw with you and maybe even impound your car.
Impound your car, you wouldn't get it back, surcharge, lose license, all that shit.
Oh man, they were. But that stuff is still active to this very day.
It is, but it's lenient. But it's gonna come. It's coming back around.
All it takes is for this to happen. The governor, he issued out a task force because the local APD is they don't have the funds. They're not funded. And so I mean, it took them 30 minutes to be able to even handle that situation. So anyway, the governor took it over. He takes over and he announces that he demanded a task force, And so where does everybody do their real stuff? It's out in the rural roads where they do this, Discovery Channel street outlaw stuff. So now, if a highway patrol pulls you over, they've got all the power, and even if they don't want to, they have to enforce it.
They have to.
Yeah, they'll have to enforce it. So anyway, those are some of the things that are interesting that we missed out. I mean, in just such a short period. So we'll just leave it there. Moving on.
Yeah, like I said, we just wanted to talk about it because, like I said, it was something that we
crazy.
felt it was kind of necessary to discuss. Anyway, so moving forward, like I said, so we got a guest.
So we do have a guest.
So I wanna I've never met you before, so appreciate it. My name's Buck, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Chris Salsbury. I'm I guess you could say half-assed automotive entrepreneur.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've had a number of different businesses.
I met you at one of our swap meets with Oscar at Oscar's Garage in Taylor.
Oscar's a great guy.
And that's where I found out that you, in this whole central area, you're one of the guys to go to when it comes to Ford trucks. For parts, because these trucks are, I mean, the items for these trucks, 70s, generation trucks.
Yeah.
It's hard to find stuff. You don't even see them on the road that much anymore. And I'm a big fan of those trucks, and I didn't even realize how hard it was to go to the junkyard and just go find a bumper and then realize, damn, there's not even one. You'll see a square body, but you won't see, F100, a 73 or 70.
That's because the Fords are still on the road. I'm just kidding.
Right, that's right.
It should be
leave it to a Ford guy. Leave it to a Ford guy to pull that card, right? But for real,
rockers.
But for real. So junkyards, as we grew up with them, have actually changed. It used to be mom and pop. I'm thinking of like Snyder's out there in Holland years ago.
Right.
Harold's out there in Briggs.
Aaron's Junkyard, South
Austin. Briggs,
They had a lot.
So our go-to whenever I was a kid was Harold's.
Okay.
Because, we had Fords. We need to get some parts. No, for real. And I remember this is so long ago, Harold worked there.
Oh.
And this dude was huge. I remember he picked up like a 6.9 liter IDI International Diesel short block.
Picked it up
and put it in the back of my dad's truck. This dude was a bear. You did not want to mess with Harold.
Damn.
Yeah.
Harold,
I'll always remember that.
Not a big hit. He was big physically.
He was big. Wow. Big man. Yep. Grizzly bear big. And I remember my dad was like, oh, he don't need any help. Okay. So long story short, so that was kind of the days gone by. And it seems like recently, all these junkyards and salvage yards, Copart is kind of the big daddy, know, and everybody kind of followed suit. And I've seen this in other industries. I won't go into this very far, but
we have all night.
High tech industry, it's monkey see, monkey do. Dell does something, then all of a sudden IBM, Compaq when they were still a thing.
Yeah,
all the other big high tech companies, they all monkey see, monkey do. So I think what happened was Copart came in. And all these small mom and pop shops kind of did deals. And the thing that kind of proved it to me was I've got an old Super Duty Ford truck. Yeah. Somebody put a newer front clip on it. I want to go back to the original. I like original stuff.
Okay. Right. That's the one I saw you in, that one.
The Dually. Yeah. I'm getting old. I like my stuff original.
I had it squatted. It kind of threw me off a little bit.
It's got some stuff done to it. But looks original, but not stock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, I called Harold's and they quoted me a price that was higher than a new headlight from Amazon. I thought that's kind of weird because I want to go the old school headlights.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then I called Snyder's up in Holland and they quoted me the exact same price down to the penny. They're all linked together.
That's why.
They're all linked together. Yep. So it's not like, I can go to this one parts yard and now Rent Your Part is a little bit different. Yeah. There are some parts yards that are kind of more old school.
Right.
But the majority of them are flipping over to this new business model, and they're all linked together.
Now, I don't know.
They're like networked.
I don't know if
they're all networked
if you have
together.
any information or know, but I was told once when I went to one of the junkyards, and now I know they're all connected, right?
Yeah.
They said go to the internet and type in some address, man, and it'll just pop up a database of all the junkyards in the area that would have that part. Like it was tied into a database. And I'm like, how does that work? How's this address, junkyard.com? I don't know, something like that is all I remember.
They basically share inventory is
that's
what
it
is.
Okay.
Yeah, and I found out that recently because I did some swapping around and I got my hands on this piece of junk '08 F-150.
Yeah.
I traded 2 junk Porsche 914s.
What?
Don't get excited.
What?
Porsche 914s are Volkswagens.
Yeah.
Nobody likes them. They're
914?
garbage. The only way I could get out of these things was a trade for a '08 wrecked F-150. So I went to Harold's. I said, hey, I need a bumper. I need some headlights. I need a grill, blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, we don't have them, but our partner down in San Antonio, they could deliver them up here. And it was like $2,000. I was like, whoa, that's more than I'm going to probably ask for this whole damn
Holy
truck.
crap.
You know what I mean? So like that kind of clicked right there.
Yeah.
But backtracking to the classic trucks, the way I see it is that, you can part out, you could hire an employee for whatever they pay him an hour to part out a rusty classic truck.
Yeah.
And they might get a couple grand worth of parts out of it over time. Or they could take in a new Acura and sell a pair of headlights for $2,000
Wow.
for some insurance claim.
And then the rest of it gets crushed. And
Yeah,
more money on
so
it.
what it is right now metal's high. So, and it's just sad, but I've personally seen Ford trucks, Chevy trucks, just classic vehicles in general, 4-doors, wagons, doesn't matter. I've seen ones that were restorable, some that look like you turn the key and run them.
Yeah.
Crushed instantly because they're not going to spend money
Waiting
on their
overtime.
workforce to disassemble an old car. And a lot of these younger guys, I hate to say it, they don't know how to take apart a classic car.
No.
And honestly, on the flip side, I have a couple newer sports cars.
Yeah.
And I struggle with those because I'm like, wait, it's just a clip? It's like, how does this thing come apart? Looking for a
I thought it was
screw or
a
a
regular,
bolt.
body screwdriver, and you turn out it's an
Exactly.
exclusive from Audi.
Exactly.
What the-
And so I don't know if you've noticed this, but on Marketplace, man, everybody's parting out vehicles.
Dude, yeah.
And there's a lot of newer vehicles out there, but there's a lot of older ones too. It's becoming more popular. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it's kind of a boutique parts yard. It's kind of what people are working with.
Right.
And I see guys that I know several guys, and they part out. One guy's a hardcore Mopar guy. The other guy's a hardcore Chevrolet guy.
Are you talking about one of the Mopar guys around here?
He's out in Bass Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so me and this
Doug,
guy, we opened up our hot rodder swap meet deal on Facebook. And,
Marketplace kind of.
Yeah, and so these guys started coming in and started using our little group page. So I got to meet all the guys that go to the swap meet or have a junkyard that handle exclusive stuff like you do. And that's why I wanted.
They're good resources.
Oh,
man.
that's
They're
exactly because I
good
mean,
resources.
like one time he posted a bunch of hard to get quadrojets, but if you look at all of them, you're like, oh, I can make one badass quadrojet that you're looking for that would cost like $800 on eBay. And he had like 6 or 7, and
Exactly.
so those are the benefits when you guys say y'all are gonna screw up our classic cars. We're gonna take them and we're gonna keep them here and save them, or when
It's
somebody
honestly
actually
feeling
needs
a big need, and then to go a little bit deeper, one of the many things that COVID has screwed up is shipping times. How many times have you guys tried to order a part? You guys are, I'm not really into racing, like some of your guys are, but I've got a friend of mine right now building a pretty hot car, and he's like, dude, I'm like 2 months behind where I should be because I keep waiting on shipping.
Shortage of
or
drag
there's
races.
shortage or this and that,
Supply
this and
chain
that.
stuff.
And the same thing. So, for Ford guys, Dennis Carpenter is a really big source of pretty good quality parts. They're probably one of the best around. LMC, of course, they do Chevy and Ford,
Right.
But what I've noticed is that shipping has gone through the roof. It's really expensive.
Yeah.
The parts quality is
Got
crap.
bad,
It's all from Taiwan. There's a lot of negatives to it. And on top of that, it's expensive. On top of that, you have to wait for it. So what I'm running into is I get a lot of guys that come out and they're like, I need it now. And they don't,
the door hinge, man, just take it off.
Exactly. Yeah. And honestly, the patina thing is hot right now, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon because the labor and the cost to paint a car are so expensive now. And honestly, the patina stuff, it looks cool. It's not a rat rod. It looks cool.
Right.
And I think it's going to stick around for a long time. And so the parts that me and some of these other guys sell, they are patina parts. They're,
Well, when my brother, I told my brother about you back when we did the first swap meet, and I tell my brother, I said, hey man, there's this guy. He's like, okay, well, what about it? No, you don't understand. I said, there's this guy. He's got Ford parts, truck parts.
You don't understand.
He's kind of slow.
all I know him is by his last name, and it rhymes with the TV dinner. And I told him I was gonna remember him like that, just and then you bring it up as soon as I open the damn door. Oh, I remember you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit. No, so I tell my brother, man, and I tell him, I said, no, he's got some good stuff, and see, he's always been a Ford guy all his life, and so he was building that 4x4, that 76.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, right now I'm dealing with the motor, man. It's got some shit. I'm going to have to just buy another one. And
it's a short bed, right?
It's a short bed,
silver?
Yeah. Silver, yeah.
It's a pretty truck.
And, the heat, the summer heat was really kicking his ass because he didn't have his garage set up.
Yeah.
So he kind of postponed it, but then he just went nuts over the last year. And that's what I sent you the email. I said, hey, man, if you ever find that truck, that picture of that truck, man, please let me know because I've been looking for it since we got rid of it.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, here's the link. And my brother is all anti-social media. He's like, I don't want to get on it. I don't want nobody to track me.
Smart man.
You do it for me. And, you're part of me. I said, man, I'm going to say you're in jail and you're fixing to get out, but you want to buy parts. I said, how about that? How about it? He starts laughing. He's like, no, seriously, tell him we'll go tomorrow. And I said, I can't go tomorrow. He's like, well, why not? You sleep all day. I'm like, God damn it. All right, we're going to be there at 9, So we show up early, right?
Yeah.
And what is the first thing he tells you? Well, I'm here to get some doors because I don't want that Chinese shit.
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
first thing he said.
Yep.
And the pricing on Chinese shit was $200 over, just a salvaged, nice door with, just surface stuff. But that's what he really wanted. And he says, no, man, you don't understand. The thickness of the metal is off. The doors, anything that they punch doesn't fit right. So
I also do custom sheet metal work. I've done that for over a decade. I just finished up a 65 Chevy C10 cab.
Nice.
It's pretty rusty, but I was able to save it.
Yeah.
And, it's...
The roofs are bad on those, aren't they? Don't they like hold
It's because of the design. So... Not to do Ford versus Chevy, but the way that Ford, they're kind of first at the assembly line,
right.
And so they make bigger panels out of one piece, and then if you look at a Chevrolet and even a Dodge, the Chevrolet to get their shape has more individual panels to get there.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, and so like the 65 Chevy, and my parents, even though we're kind of a Ford family, my parents have my uncle's truck, the fully restored.
Yeah.
It's a 60 C10 Apache short bed, very pretty truck, and they did all original. I had to fix the rust in this truck too. It's that little visor. The visor that goes over the windshield. It's a good looking feature of the truck.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But if you look at that visor, it's made of like 10 different pieces.
Wow.
And that's that many flanges, and the flanges, they extend about a half-inch in where they're pinch welded together as they assemble the cab. And anywhere there's a pinch weld, it's like it's just a little stoppage. And what got this truck and what gets a lot of the vehicles that I repair, mice.
Really?
Oh.
Dude. So I was up there and blowing out through the rust holes, and it was blowing down the cab corners.
Damn.
All this rat crap,
No shit.
mouse nest, cotton, and all they do is they go up there, they pee on it, and that
Rusted out.
acidity it just soaks into the metal, and of course,
Pits
no
it.
manufacturer. Ford might have started dipping their trucks around that time, but it was. I don't think it was very common that they dunk cabs.
Yeah.
I think it was a little later on, but anyway. A lot of that metal has not been painted. They assemble it bare metal because if you think about it, these trucks were meant to last 10 years. And then they wanted you to buy a new one and move on with life.
Of course.
Some of those
these trucks are like 50, 60 years old now.
Some of those trucks you're talking about right there, that
They're
era.
holding.
My dad has photos of the ranch trucks that they had. This is when Tony, he told me when he was a kid in the early 60s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're laughing because my dad had to fabricate a back fender, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they showed me a picture and the truck is shot to shit, rust.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. I said that truck's only like maybe 5 years old.
Yep.
But it goes to say it's the way those trucks were put that.
And I hate to say it, but whenever you get more into the off brands, I don't want to say Dodge, but I've repaired some rusty Dodges before. They're not too bad, like Ford, Chevy, Dodge. They're always the big three. But My brother is a huge International Harvester fan.
Damn, so it's my brother.
And those are super cool trucks.
Yeah.
My brother, he's had his 79 Scout 2. It's fully restored. He's had it since high school, long time ago. This thing is mint. Gets looks all the time. His Scout had a little bit of rust in it, and it was from Southern California, never driven in like bad weather, and that thing still had some rust in it.
Wow.
You look at any Scout 2
They're gonna have something
on Marketplace, and it's the same story.
Wow.
Typical rust. And like the floor is gone, the rockers are gone, the windshield frames are gone. And it's just because they built them to last a short amount of time, and they wanted to come back and buy another one.
Yeah.
But those off brands, they didn't galvanize a lot of metal.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Yeah.
So
That makes
you
sense.
kind of run into that.
Yeah, those international trucks, man.
But the powertrain is good.
man,
They're
but
tough trucks.
They're tough.
They fucking vibrated so much. I mean, when my dad dropped me off at school, I think I vibrated off the damn seat, man, just going to school.
The teacher thought you were having a seizure walking down the hall?
This is, like freaking Daffy Duck, man. Because, I mean, the damn thing the whole way down the highway, man, I'm like, he's like, oh, they're the tires, they're just,
Bias wise.
no, Dad, it's the damn 4-speed, the damn motor is in there. It don't even sound like a V8. I don't know what's in it, but, and then it was bright yellow, I'm like, Dad, don't ever bring me in
Was
this
it a
truck.
truck or a Scout or what was it?
It was an international
Travelall?
4-door.
Was it a truck or like a wagon?
No, it was a truck.
Truck?
It looked
Okay.
like a damn wagon, but it was a 4-door with the bed and the whole damn
So as a
thing.
4-door, that'd be a Travelette.
Okay.
Yeah, those are super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Well,
cool
that's the
truck.
one he dropped me off in. I swear, man.
And if it
when
was
I got
yellow,
out-
it was probably a county or city truck.
It was because he worked for the city.
I knew it.
No, my
Yeah.
dad actually.
I got a couple county trucks out of my yard.
Do you have? I recognize that taxi
One
yellow
of them
and
is
shit.
from Lee County.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just what we call it. We're like, yeah, go over there to Lee County and grab the steering column out of it.
What the hell was in those? What was it? A 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder? Or what was it?
They're V8s probably.
IH?
Yeah.
Man, it depends on the era. They actually had some AMC motors, like a Jeep. That was only for a few years, like 67, 68, 69. And then a lot of them, they had a 4-cylinder. And the interesting thing about an International Harvester, and it's even on, I've actually had a Scout 800 V8.
Yeah.
Looks kind of like a Bronco. Everybody calls Scouts Broncos, and it pisses off my brother. He's like, "You see a horse on that fender?" He gets all mad. But
Fighting words.
yeah, exactly right. No,
Purist.
but what it was they had a 152 slant 4, and then their V8 was a 304. If you do the math,
304.
if you do the math,
That's half.
it's literally they literally casted half of a block.
Oh.
In the valve
Slant
covers,
4.
so International Harvester was such I'd call a low production manufacturer. They used a V8 valve cover on the 4-cylinder, and on the valve cover it says, "If timing 4-cylinder, this is the firing order. If timing 8-cylinder, this is the firing order."
Damn.
So
all,
it's
all on
same
one.
valve
That's
cover.
what
Give it to 'em.
They're pinching money. They're pinching pennies back then. They say, okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna produce
They
this one for
were.
this motor, but we can use it on this motor.
They were, and then International quit making. I don't want to say civilian vehicles, but non-commercial vehicles. My brother's here to be kicking me right now. I think it's 1980. 80 was the last year. They had like square headlights.
I don't know. This one looked like it was sad in the front.
That
And
was
it had
that
a-
was like a
It
60s.
had a big, full size, queen size bed, friggin' guard on it, with the bars, you can't get out. You're like, help me,
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, man. The rims were just black and
Yeah.
they looked like Jeep freaking water tires.
Let's see, but I love
Ooh,
those
man.
types of trucks though. I call those orphan trucks.
Orphan truck.
Yeah, it's kind of an orphan truck, but
Yeah.
so I actually had a truck like that for a very long time. So I'm kind of the guy that's known for the guy with the weird stuff. 'Cause I have stuff, dude, my interest.
Wow, I didn't know I was weird. I like those Ford trucks.
No, and it's funny. That's like the most mainstream thing that I actually like is this Ford
Yeah.
trucks. But I like old AMC Jeeps. I've got a Laredo CJ5 fully loaded. I just picked up a original paint root beer brown with yellow stripes.
Oh, wow.
CJ5
I know those.
Renegade.
I had them in Hot Wheels.
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
that color, that root
It's
beer.
like root beer brown
Yeah, I
metallic
remember
with the
that.
orange and yellow Renegade
Yeah,
on the hood and the stripes and
Yep.
everything. I just picked up one of those. I like survivor vehicles. This is kind of fruity, but I like a lot of old British cars.
Any more Porsches? Any more of those Porsches?
No. I've been burned by 3 classic Porsches in my life. Two are these 914s that honestly they were free, but I like doing business on the up and up, and so I give the guy $500 thinking, it's 2 Porsches for $500.
Yeah.
Where could I go wrong? Oh my God, dude, they were rusty, they were seized up, and I thought, well, yeah,
So those were definitely not going to float.
Porsche.
Right.
And you know, it should be worth something.
Not those,
Dude,
no.
I sat on those things.
You had to give them away. Well,
I traded it for the 08
Ford,
F-150 with a bad transmission, and it was wrecked. And I couldn't thank the guy enough. I was like, please, come on, let me help you load up these Porsches. They're so bad.
What color were they? I always see them in red and
rust, but it was
brown, black top or something.
Yeah, so this is the one that. So the reason that these Porsches suck, is
motors slow.
Well, they are slow, but here's the deal: in Germany, they are actually labeled a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
VW.
And then for the American market, they were called a Porsche.
Yeah.
And Porsche people see them as Volkswagens. Volkswagen people see them as snobby Porsches.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is they aren't worth a damn. Whenever you just look up Porsche 914 on Marketplace, you'll never find one that runs. It's always one that's broke down. It's got the engine yanked out of it, or it's complete and rotted out. There's just no love for these damn things.
There was only one that I ever rode in. My friend's dad was he did upholstery and he got it in a trade, but you know what? It had those flares, those fender flares, and it had those daisy wheels on it.
Those are just like baby moons with caps, weren't they? Like like a
well,
cap.
this one, I mean, it was pretty nice, man. So I don't know how much he charged in upholstery to get that thing in trade too, but he says we're not using the Camaro today. I'm like, what? Now we're gonna go in this big canary yellow looking thing.
Yeah.
And so we go downtown. We're driving around in it, tops down 6th Street. Back when you could cruise it.
Yeah.
And we made the mistake and turned on 10th Street.
Uh-oh.
And went the wrong way. And then we couldn't find a way to turn back around.
Get carjacked?
So, well, we have no top on, right? We got no top on, and we're blasting the music. I don't remember what it was, And where he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn in here, and he turned into this old gas station that was, it wasn't a gas station anymore, but there was a bunch of dudes there.
Yeah.
And this dumb motherfucker turns in it, goes around, and all I hear is, "What the fuck, motherfucker!" I'm like, capture. I'm like, God damn, dude, haul ass. And so he floors, and this thing can't get.
Can't get out of its own
hell
way.
out of there, man. I'm like, dude, what the hell did you just do? Plus, we had two guys following us. One was a real nice Firebird, and the other was another Camaro. But he just decided to go in there and just, and I'm like, dude, we almost got shot, man.
There's only
maybe they would have thumped me in the head.
Yeah,
I mean, we were
right.
so close to him,
There's only one
funny.
914 that's worth a damn. It's a 914-6, and it's basically a 914, kind of a hot rod 914. It's got a 911 flat 6-cylinder in it.
Oh,
And if you look at Bring a Trailer, it's still not fast, but if you look at Bring a Trailer, which of course is the crazy prices for everything, even junk, you can see where, I don't know if they've cracked 6 figures yet, but there's some that they get up there.
No deal.
So.
That's one you're probably not going to see a whole lot of around. Then, I mean, even if you do find a good one, they're probably somebody scooped them up.
So back to your Ford trucks, man. So how did you? So when did you make the decision that you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just go buy some. I'm gonna go buy one. How did you end up with the count? How did the count start?
Well,
that's
like
kind
I
of a
got
long
Hot
story.
Wheels. I just tend to buy one and hang.
Did you have a year that you're picking
Yeah.
out, like as far as your window of Ford trucks you're getting, or was it? Just
I do. So what I specialize in is 1961 to 1979. I have picked
Good
up.
years, man. I love it.
It's kind of the kind of cream of the crop right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I like shit, man. I
Anyway,
wish I could
Fords.
get one.
And what's funny is I actually like the newer Fords. I've had in my past, when I was a kid, I probably had a dozen 80 to 86 what they call bullnose Ford trucks, including my high school truck.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are great trucks.
I like the mid
but
90s
but
ones.
they just haven't caught on yet. Like people aren't putting 30 grand into them to fix them up.
right,
They
right.
just aren't.
They suck to lower too because they don't know about the
It's got that twin
eye.
I-beam. It's got the twin I-beam. Yeah. So, but and then I personally have a 1995. You might have seen it. F-150 short bed, 300 inline 6, 5-speed, 330,000 miles.
Nice. Same motor or rebuilt?
Nope, original motor.
Shit.
And you know what's funny about that little pickup? I'm kind of segueing out of this.
I don't
No,
care.
you good? No,
But,
yeah,
I'm
good.
kind of wandering here.
Shit.
But
Okay.
no, but so the 300 inline 6, I compare it to driving it to like an old 6.9
No, those
liter
things will not
IDI
die,
diesel.
dude. Yeah.
It's kind of like a non-turbo diesel, whether it be
Right.
like a 6.9 Ford or like a 6.2 Chevy, or whatever. They just
Explain why there's so many of those in 6-cylinder from like 1980 or 82.
so So they started
all
in
the way up
1960.
into the 97, 96 model.
Right. So they started off in 1964. All right. So I'm going to start a whole new chapter on this real quick. I love 300 inline sixes.
Yeah.
So the 300 inline six was introduced with its shorter stroke brother, the 240. The 240 went away in like, I don't know, 70, 72 something. The 300 lasted from 64 to 1996 in pickup applications. I think in weird freak applications it might have been a little bit longer, but for regular applications. And I think the most horsepower it put out was like 150 horsepower in the 90s, fuel injected with a dual outlet manifold. And torque was pretty high. It was like high 200s. It was almost like 300 pound-foot of torque.
They could actually outrun a 5.0 V8.
They could on the bottom end.
If they put some mods to it, I mean, it could actually.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, and so the 300 inline six is known. If you change the oil, that's all you got to do. Just change the oil every once in a while. Not even regularly, just like once a year.
Just add.
Just put some more in it. And they've been known to last 300,000 miles, no problem. Wow. And there's really no shortcoming to that engine. The only thing is that they have a fiber cam gear. Wow. And the nitpicky people are like, 100, 150,000 miles, you should change it out. And so I've had my truck for over 20 years. I bought it. That's another story, but I bought it in the very early 2000s. I think it was it's a 95, so it was like maybe like 7-year-old truck.
Okay.
And I worked at Mack Hike Ford. I bought it off, which I miss these days, off of the old back car lot, where if you're an employee, you could snake a vehicle out of the wholesale lot before they send it off to auction.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And so I saw that truck pull in. I was like, ooh, that's got my name on it. And of course, at the time, the thing looked brand new. Now it's kind of ragged out, unfortunately. So I talked to one of the dealers. My job there was the used vehicle inventory manager. So any vehicle that got traded in, and I got some good stories about that. I had to go through them, check mileage, check condition. What's it going to cost for us to restore this vehicle just enough to sell versus auction the thing off? There's something wrong with it, or it needs too much work. So that little pickup came in, and it was probably worth about $8 or $9 grand at the time. It was worth some money. Yeah. And I worked with Mike Killian Auto Sales down there in Round Rock. Mind you, this is like 20-something years ago. Yeah. I hope he's still alive. And long story short, I did a lot of business with him, and I'd get him some pretty good cars to fill up his inventory. Right. And I was like, hey, man, I really like that truck. He's like, well, go talk to used car manager. So I did, and used car manager, his name was Scott Deadman. He passed away now. But he said, talk to Mike, see what he would put a bid on it. You just pay that. And Mike's like, well, what do you want to pay for it? I only got like $3,500. Yeah. He's like, that's my bid.
No shit.
I got that truck for $3,500, and this thing was mint.
Wow.
So I got it. It had like 80,000 miles or something. Now it's at 330. I put all those miles on it. And it was funny is at 100,000 miles, I said, I'm going to change out that gear. I never did it. The years later, I had a bunch of other vehicles in the meantime. I hit 200,000 miles. Damn, that gear's going to go, and it's, valves are going to smack the piston. I'm going to waste the motor. Yeah. What's funny, I don't even know if it's even an interference motor. I've never looked it up. I don't think it is. No. The cam lift is probably like 2000s. It's probably nothing. It's probably nothing. Yeah, you could use a feeler gauge to measure the cam lift on that thing. And for real,
I had all these
and then I hit 300,000 miles, and I just said, screw it. If this thing blows, it blows. I don't care anymore.
So it's all the original.
This thing paid its dues, man.
It's been through original cam gear, and then
original cam gear, and it's been through 4 or 5 different businesses with me. I've worked that truck like a 1-ton. Yeah. My dually, I just blew out the clutch on it, dragging home a parts truck. That's another story. I'm full of stories, and so I hadn't towed with my little 95 in years, and I was like, man, I wonder if it'll still do it, dude. In one weekend, I pulled 4 cars back home, and it was like. That poor thing was so wore out. It was all over the place. The steering box is gone. The twin I-beam is gone. The brakes are gone. I'm like, how did I do this for like 2 decades with this truck pulling big overloaded trailers? I don't know how I did it.
I told you about that 85, right?
Yeah,
that Bergstrom truck.
Yes.
And the guy always drove it and would park it with those windows down. So cats would get in it. I mean, it's rubber floor, but it was a nice truck, right? No chrome, but it was very nice. But the windows are always kept down, right? So when he was finally going to get rid of it, man, he was going to donate it, right? So that's how I ended up with it, because I just paid him what they were going to. Well, I said, well, here's what they're going to give you. He's like, really? I said, yeah. So here it is. Take it. It's mine. He's like, okay. So and it had a high idle, right, because of the carburetor's electronic, and so it wouldn't idle right. It would go high or either go too low, and then the exhaust that's connected into it, man, was leaking, and so it had that shit. So the roof, the hood, the underside, it was just exhaust black.
Yeah.
So I get it, and the windows wouldn't even go up. He would never roll them. So we spent like 3 weeks, man, just WD-40, everything, all kinds of shit. And that little 6-cylinder, man, I soaked it right with purple cleaner.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm gonna power blast this thing. If I screw it up, well then I guess I'm putting a 5.0 in it, right?
Yeah.
But no, man, it cleaned up really nice.
Yeah.
And I ended up just plugging up the carburetor of all its electronics, and the fucking distributor was still electronic, so it still had a weird idle, but I'm like, hey, it's good to go.
Yeah.
And I just cruised it like that. But I didn't know that these trucks, they've got something weird, because you were talking about steering column. They've got something weird in the steering column that it likes to break, or the ignition switch, the rod that's in there, likes to get stuck, and something breaks inside or starts to break inside of them, and then all of a sudden you're left wherever you are with no gear. And you can't turn it off or you can't turn it on, whichever, at what point it happens.
Yeah, there is a weird deal in there. So from the ignition switch down to the column, it's got a really stiff wire, kind of like a coat hanger.
Right.
And it's kind of funky because it's not a combo ignition switch tumbler. It's like your tumbler is up in the column,
right.
But it's only connected to anything in that era by the wire.
Yeah.
And it's not an electrical wire. It's more of a push rod. And so you've got a little square box mounted up underneath the dash.
And this wasn't even a tilt column, so whatever let go inside of it, I lost my transmission shifting, and then it came back on, right?
Yeah.
It worked again, so somehow I managed to, I guess it wasn't completely broke. But anyway, a friend of mine says, I'll work a deal with you, and we'll do it in trade. So I do a trade, he gets it, and he's like, man, can you drive it? I said, dude, I'll drive it to you all the way to Bastrop.
Yep.
Drove that thing all the way out there. And I said, see, I told you there's nothing wrong with it. And so we even picked up some of his shit, went to the other house, came back, parked it in reverse. I said, all right, bud, we're taking my shit. Yep. And a week later, he goes, hey, man, did this shit ever happen to you where you put it in gear and it doesn't go nowhere and the truck won't turn off? I said,
go take the
no.
pop the plug on.
I said, no, it never happened. Okay, maybe once. Yeah. He's like, okay, well, it's toast now because it landed on my lap and I can't find a steering column to save myself with. I'm like, what? And so for like 6 months, you couldn't find a steering column in none of the junkyards. Had he known you probably would have had one.
Not me. I don't do 80 to 86 or anything newer.
So you, shit, you would have had a 74 fucking steering column.
I don't mess with that junk. I'm just kidding.
Right. That's fucked up. So, but the truck was cool, man. It had an 8.8, rear in it. And then the funny story is that guy that I originally got it from, I said, man, this truck rides beautiful. I mean, you can let go of the steering wheel, it's straight, it doesn't squeak. He goes, well, I had an accident in it. And I'm like, you did? He goes, yeah. I was going towards this one area in Round Rock where there's this bridge. He goes, I completely missed that thing and I went airborne. I went airborne like 6 feet in the air and I landed back, and the body shop completely rebuilt all the suspension on it. Well, and so it's brand new. But I'm like, dude, you just did a Dukes of Hazzard on this truck.
Bit the frame.
And had I known, I would have never even bought it. But he said they made it right. So I think this truck took some good abuse. And
so what us Ford guys call that is you did a Mr. Majestic. So there's an old movie from the 70s. Charles Bronson stars in it. It's a badass. Actually, the whole movie's good. It's not like Bullet, where like Bullet.
Take note.
It's not like Bullet, where like the only good part of Bullet. I hate to say this, is the damn chase.
Yeah, that's it.
I've sat through Bullet like 3 or 4 times.
Fall asleep
drinking. I'm just like, it's a detective movie. Okay,
right.
Nah, Mr. Majestic, dude, it's got everything in it. It's a badass movie.
It's not like the old Gone in 60 Seconds, is it?
It kind of goes in the same category as the original Gone in 60 Seconds. Not the Nick Cage crap. Yeah. But no, it's basically a watermelon farmer, and there's some bad guys after him, and it all leads into this off-road chase. And he's in like a truck, kind of like the Highboy, like what I pulled up in, but it's a half-ton version, 2-wheel drive. So it's a long bed F100. And I think he's 3 of them in this movie. I'm kind of a nerd on this movie because there's a lot of cool scenes, but they're launching this truck like vertically, like 10 feet off the ground, and they're landing it. And honestly, there's a lot of bad things about the twin I-beam suspension.
Yeah.
Like, you can only lift them about 1.5 inches, and you can only lower them about 1.5 inches. And you have to have like camber correctors in there. Trust me, I'm a 40. I've done it. I know it. I get it. Twin I-beam kind of sucks for a lot of stuff. It kind of wanders down the road, so you have to drink beer, so you kind of counteract what the truck does.
I sold this guy some iBox springs.
But one good thing that they do is you can launch a twin I-beam truck over a set of railroad tracks. Launch it hard.
That's what he did,
and it'll stick it. If you're going fast enough, it'll stick it.
And that's what he did with the truck, man. He stuck it.
And to this day, look underneath. You just Google any sort of pre-runner truck, and it's got the long arm twin I-beam style suspension, where it goes from one side of the truck to the other. It's like a big scissor.
Even the Bronco 2s, those little Broncos, the Rangers.
They take a lot of abuse, man.
Wow.
They take a lot of abuse.
I believe it.
Well, I had a 93 Lightning.
But that's all they do. They don't go down the road good.
Well, my 93 Lightning was cool, and it was lowered. It was lowered already, and so.
Dream beams? Did it have dream beams on it?
Well, I don't know
to lower
what
it.
That is. No, I don't know. I just got it, and it was lowered already, so I just stuck some really nice, Michelins on it. And I said, well, my next thing is to go and get some drop springs. So I got some iBox drop springs, and I'm like, one of these days I'll get the the pins, and I'll order those custom ones that Boyd used to sell, or Beltec.
Yeah.
And but I didn't get those. Keep the truck for about 5-6 years, and a friend of mine has a black one, and I ended up fucking trading it off to him for something else. That's what we always do. But I gave him the springs, and I said, hey. My truck already has them, but I'm not gonna do anything with these springs, so I'll just throw them in the deal. Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, cool! I can put them on my Black Lightning." So he's all excited, and he puts them on his truck, and then he calls him back bitching out. He goes, "God damn! You know how much the alignment was to get that shit straight?" And it wasn't even much of a drop, but it caused that much of an interference that it ruined the whole suspension, the whole alignment. Just by dropping it, like
1.5 inches.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
So my little 95 pickup, I went the opposite way. It is a 2-wheel drive truck, and I just wanted to sit level, so I put a leveling kit on it. I think, 20 years ago, it was a super lift kit. And it was funny, they still make it, but back in the day, it was like $100, and that was springs and shocks and everything. And they have a bushing for the upper ball joint. So I think from Ford they have a bushing, but it's just a straight bushing, and then the aftermarket lifts that you can get has an eccentric bushing, and you can get the wheels straight up and down.
Really?
But again, the magic number is only about 1.5 inches one way or the other. And then for lowering it, I think you have to go to different I-beams because there's really nothing you can do with a cross member.
Beltec was the only one that would sell that shit.
Right. And then for 2-wheel drives and 4-wheel drives, they sell a drop-down bracket for the actual I-beam pivots that bolt onto the cross member. So the whole thing
just goes lower. Wow. Interesting.
But back to the 300.
Right.
This is a podcast about 300s, by the way.
Yeah.
No.
We can bring in a guy who will talk to you about Boss engines a whole day, and boy, he'll tell you some shit, dude.
Well, so this is, I'm just bringing this up because it's kind of an old memory. You've got those vehicles that you built whenever you were young, and whenever you're young, you just kind of do what you feel like. Yeah. So I in high school, I had an 82 Ford F100 regular cab flare side. And it was a pretty truck. It's kind of a medium blue metallic with silver down the middle. And those Fords had a lot of pinstripe tape around each panel. Yeah. And it was a really pretty truck. And in fact, I think it's on one of the covers of a brochure for the early 80s.
A two-tone truck or a
two-tone? Two-tone,
okay.
flare, step side, flare side. Metallic blue and silver.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It was like a Dallas Cowboys colors.
Oh, yeah.
So long story short, in high school, just like today, most of my friends are Chevrolet people, and they love beating up on the poor Ford guy.
Yeah.
And so I decided to build up a hot rod 300 inline 6.
Oh.
And so Extreme Machine, remember them up in Georgetown? The guy's name was Perry. He built this motor. Well, I was in high school. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He was young back then. And anyway, he assembled the short block. I did everything else, but we did some pretty trick stuff. And what's funny was he was like, "Are you sure you really want to do this?" I was like, "Yes, I want to beat my friends with the 350 combo."
Yeah.
And dude, that little truck would scream. It made kind of regular power down low, but once it got up on the cam, it would scream. And so I've always been around 300 inline sixes, and even my little 95 at 3,500 RPM, that thing's done.
Yeah.
So you drive it kind of like a diesel. You know, you just 3,500 shift it.
Yeah.
Actually, less than that. This 300 would make power to a little bit over 6,000 RPM.
Nice.
And back in the 70s, dirt track racers used to race 300 inline sixes.
Yeah.
There was some class, some
Is that right?
some bracket, whatever, where it was beneficial to run that engine. And so there were some speed parts. So I used a Offenhauser open plenum intake. Which
Now
kind of
there's
killed my bottom end.
Now there's a Clifford.
Clifford was, I think, one of the originals, actually.
it?
They were one of the very
Okay.
first ones, yeah. And for the street, I should have went with a Clifford dual plane intake
Yeah.
to get some bottom end
end.
torque.
Mhm.
But all I could find was a Offie C series, is what
Yeah.
they called it back in the day. It was an open
Open
plenum.
plane.
Yeah.
Had a Holly double pumper on it. And then actually had to run Chevrolet valves.
So I was going to get to that.
put
Did you run the
bigger
big block
valves.
springs and the rocker arms? It's the one, you know.
So I ran Crane Gold Race 1.6 ratio rocker arms.
Oh, okay.
Those 300s had pressed in studs, so I had to get ARP screw in studs
Yeah.
and parity machine the head for that. I port matched it and ported and polished it as much as
Yeah,
I
that
could
thing
do
woke up.
for a high school kid.
Yeah.
The cam was kind of cool. It was a vintage, new old stock cam I found from somewhere, and it was a Crower cam.
Yeah.
And this is a long time ago, but the lift was somewhere around 500.
Nice.
It was, that thing was rowdy, and what was crazy was a 300 inline six stock with an exhaust. Kind of sounds like crap. Sounds like a UPS truck that ain't running right.
Dude,
you
my
know?
son's like
It doesn't
that. Why does
sound
my
very
truck
good.
sound like a UPS truck? You know,
So
I'm like, I
the
don't
only,
know.
and I've
dump
built
truck.
other inline sixes before. The best sounding inline six to me is long tube headers.
Yeah.
Which I had Clifford Performance long tube headers. Into a single inlet, dual outlet Flowmaster 40. And what's funny, I don't like Flowmasters on V8s. I've heard them my whole life.
I only liked them
That
on Mustangs.
sound,
They sounded really good.
yeah, you know, and they sound good, but I've heard the Flowmaster sound my entire life.
Yeah.
You know a Flowmaster from 20 miles away.
Exactly.
That's a Flowmaster
Here
40.
comes
That's
Buck.
a Flowmaster 10.
Deep.
Yeah, and it's fine. But what I'm saying is funny is, like, I never put Flowmasters on my V8s just because.
Right.
But on an inline six, it's the only muffler, in my opinion, that sounds good.
Did wake it
Glass
up.
packs
Sounds different.
sound terrible.
Oh, man.
Magnaflows sound terrible. They sound
Raspy.
buzzy.
They were kind of raspy.
But you know what I go crazy for though, is when I hear those old, pre 55 Chevys or Fords, and they put glass packs and duals, and for some reason I hate the hell out of a 6-cylinder sound. But when I see those little cars, white walls,
They sound
lowered,
so weird,
holy
man.
shit, I want that. And my dad used to tell me.
They have that weird, like, buzzy, poppy rasp to them.
It's like a raspy noise.
My dad put
It's the original Honda Civic.
yeah, right, exactly.
It kind of is.
He put what they called a Hollywood muffler. They called it a Hollywood.
I've heard of Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what he put on his car. And he says, "Holy shit, I'm taking that thing back off before I get busted." Because back in the day, you made some noise, and the cops were like, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
So he took that shit right back off. But there was a few guys in South Austin that had done the duals off of a 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Holy shit, Dad, is that the way your car sounded?" He just said, "Yeah, those motherfuckers are gonna get pulled over." And I'm like, "Come on, man, it's the '90s already."
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
I do enjoy hopping up weird engines, though. So that was my high school truck,
yeah.
and that thing it had a 4-speed in it. Kind of rare truck looking back on it. It was called a SROD single rail overdrive transmission, and it was basically an aluminum version of, I guess, kind of like a T10 Mustang trans, and it had a overdrive in it. So the truck itself was super lightweight. It actually had from the factory a car bolt pattern. It was 5x4. It's 5x4.5. Weird.
Oh, that is weird.
Econo truck thing that Ford was trying to do, and they
Yeah.
only did it for a few years. So it's kind of weird to find truck wheels in a car bolt pattern, but I did it, and it looked good,
Oh, you're gonna get Oscar going nuts now, looking
I
for some
know,
shit like
I
that.
know, but I also did a Chevy for a customer. So before I did the parts thing, I built a lot of cars for customers,
Right.
And I was a guy that people would bring Triumph TR6s to. I'd work on old Jaguar XKEs,
Yeah, so
a couple of Aston Martins.
So Oscar told me to ask you about
I've
that.
done some weird stuff.
So you do some of the exotic foreign rebuilds.
Not really.
Do you restore them,
new.
or what do you do? What do you do with them?
I don't really do anything new exotic. I mean, I kind of.
No, but the vintage.
But the vintage stuff, yeah. So I never really worked on anything Italian.
Yeah.
Right.
But my big thing was old British cars.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of old time shops around, and a couple of them have went out of business recently. There's still some that have kind of picked up where they left off. But I mean, if you have an old MG, an old Triumph, an old Austin Healey, I mean, it's kind of hard to find someone to work on those.
There was a guy on
and so
South Lamar.
I would take those projects. I would take those projects in.
There was a guy on South Lamar that I got very early on after high school. I went into the auto body shop, and they wanted to hire me because I took it in high school, and so I go to this one shop, and that's what they were doing. They were doing MGs and all stuff, and the guy goes, "How good are you with metal to metal?" And I said, "Like metal, like lead?" He goes, "No, metal to metal, the
Bondo stuff?
Bondo stuff."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, it's hard shit to work with. Once it dries up, it's like a rock."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, come look at these. This is what we're doing here because we don't do lead. It's you know it's toxic." So I look at these cars, man, and there's this old man. He's just looking at me like, "Fuck, I want to quit," you know. I'm like, you know, and I'm like, "Well, you know, I'll take a stab at it." And I ended up getting hired at another body shop, and I didn't go back. But I never forgot the skill that from American cars to one of those. You really can't shortcut because somebody's gonna know you did some shit work like right off the bat. Like if you don't use Glasserit paint,
They're very
for these
different,
German
yeah,
cars,
and just mechanically, they're pretty different. I mean, you know, a car's a car. You know, you're gonna have a cam somewhere, you're gonna have a rod bearing somewhere, you're gonna have a piston somewhere.
Yeah.
What's this? That weird Mazda stuff. But road.
we don't talk about that here.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about that. No, that is the worst exhaust note ever.
Fight me.
That's like a chainsaw on steroids.
Dude,
They haul ass, but man, I can't stand that.
That's what they call
that sound.
It
really is, man.
That's all.
There was a little blue one back when I was in high school. I was
They're
at high
fast,
school.
though.
Man,
They're
that little
fast.
thing, we would laugh because he didn't have a turbo on it, but he used a Puerto Rican dude or something, and so he shows up in this little blue car, man, and it ding, 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 ding. And we knew it was him rolling up, right? Because it's echoing down 6th Street.
Yeah.
And we will always wait for him to
They're
come
louder
out.
than a damn nitro car.
Oh,
dude.
shit, dude.
With a
Fucking-
header?
It'll hurt your ears. But
Oh,
anyway,
it's
he would
terrible.
come out. He would come out and he has little 13-inch wheels on it. And we stand there and look at him like we had a remote control, you know. And he's like, and then he'd go through all the gear, and the little car's just like bouncing.
They'll do
and
some
it
burnouts,
took forever,
though.
but he was, and we're just like, oh shit, he's gonna hit, you know, and he's still doing this shit, and you know, fucking, he'd laugh at us all the time, but I can't. The noise is just, it hits my ear at a decibel that.
Yeah.
It's just not for me, you know what I mean?
So one of my best friends from high school,
Yeah.
he had, I don't remember what year it is. I think it was an 83 RX-7. And at the time I actually had my car. I have a 67 MGB GT, which is not the convertible MGB that everyone's used to. It's the kind of hardtop fastback. It's not a convertible. And much more rare, kind of sleeker.
Those are
looking
nice,
thing.
though.
Yeah. And back in the day, mine had a 4-banger in it with twin SU carbs on it, and my buddy had that RX-7. I don't know what they had for, I think a Mikuni carburetor or something.
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah.
And so, you know, so we would go out there and race.
Put a Makuni in that 300. But anyway, go back.
Yeah, right,
Go ahead.
right.
Yeah.
And so we go out there and race, and man, I spank him with a MG that was 20 years older than his car. He'd get all there. I'm like, not only did I beat you, I sounded a lot better too. And I just had a regular 4-banger, dude. Of course, now that car has a 5-liter in it, and you saw that car when you were out of my place.
I glanced at your
car.
shop. I glanced, but yeah, I did see something parked there.
So I've had that car forever now. And,
I thought I saw a Cadillac, and I also saw the 57 Ford.
Dude, I got all sorts of stuff out there. I got all sorts of crap out there. But that car I've had forever, and I've kind of toyed with the idea of selling it. And it's one of those things where I don't really want to sell it. Nobody really wants to buy it, so it'll just hang around forever. But it's a cool car, though. You know, it's a 67 MGB GT, and I put a Fox body 5-liter roller cam in it. It's got trick flow cam in it, heavily ported. And they're E7 heads, but they're still heavily ported. And it's got the headers and everything on it, so it's a good probably 300 horsepower motor.
Yeah.
Whether that's a crank of the wheels, I don't know.
Yeah. What is that? What is that?
Is that at the intake?
It does 110. Don't change the intake; it'll lose all its torque.
Yeah, 300 horsepower at the air filter.
What is that? What does that car weigh? What does that car
So
weigh?
I've weighed it once, full tank of gas, not my fat ass in it. It weighs 2,100 pounds.
20.
So 2,100 pounds, and
300.
let's call it an honest 300 horsepower
That'd be
car.
fascinating. Yeah.
It's quick for what it is.
Yeah.
It ain't. I listened to some of your podcasts earlier with some of the street racers. I'm like, God damn, these guys are going fast. Yeah. It ain't one of those cars.
Mind
It
how
ain't one of
fast
those
they can
cars.
go.
Yeah.
It ain't one of those cars.
Right.
But for just a street rod, hot rod little
course,
car.
yeah. Sleeper, man. It's a sleeper.
It's kind of a sleeper.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
quick
Well, they
for
have
what it is.
because these cars were so fast. One of the guys that came on, he says, "You know what? I'm gonna do an event, and we're gonna put in the slow car class." And he's like, "I don't know how it's gonna go, but we're gonna throw it in there." I said, "Well, you need something because you're leaving out all the street cars.
Yeah.
Because nobody can go build a 1,500 horsepower car and then all they can do is go race with you guys." So he opens up that, and it's successful. And then he does a second race. And he's like, I'm going to add another one, even the slower car class.
Yeah.
And this has to have street tires or something. Yeah. But he got real overwhelmed that the majority of the cars that enrolled went for the slow class. So a car like that now has a place in at the drag strip because you don't have to compete with what you said, that, hey, I'll never be able to touch a Stroker 6.0 LS with twin turbo.
Yeah. It's like my car is fast for a kind of period correct.
Right, exactly.
So it's kind of like a 289 AC Cobra.
Yeah.
Where, compared to a stock 69 Camaro,
right,
the Cobra's going to smoke the Camaro.
Yeah.
But, nowadays, who knows?
Right, yeah.
But back to the vintage class thing. Mm-hmm. So what's funny is I've never had a super fast car.
Right.
I mean, I've had fast cars, but not drag race fast. You know what I mean?
All around performance.
All around performance. Yeah. I've had some newer, somewhat exotic cars. Of course, they're kind of fast, but they're not that fast. And anyway, so Little Ripper puts on their vintage drag event. Mm-hmm. It used to be once a year.
Right,
now
the
it's twice a year. Yeah, the Continentals used to do it.
Yeah, the Continentals used to do it, but now they do got a vintage in
now they do it kind of
fall.
in-house. Yeah. They kind of do it in-house.
I thought I was like seeing stuff. It is too, right?
They got one. They got one at the end of this month.
March.
Yeah, March 25th, I believe.
Yeah, and then they got one like in October.
If anybody wants to send me presents, that's on my birthday. Thanks. Anyway, just thought I'd plug that in. All right, so
it's in the mail.
Like March 25th.
Yeah, you get it. You'll get it the second Tuesday of next week.
So I'm always willing to take in high performance LS parts only.
So the vintage drags, what you're talking about.
Yeah, so vintage drags, it is. I mean, Roundup is always. I've been going to Roundup for I don't know how many years, well over a decade.
Yeah,
right?
We'll talk about that too.
It comes to a point to where you're like, I'm going again. I'm gonna drive long. This Congress.
And so again, I'm gonna segue here a little bit. COVID kind of screwed up Roundup because Roundup had this momentum going.
Oh yeah,
and every year was bigger than the last. Every year was bigger than the last, and that freaking COVID hit. And it killed it. And then I went to the first Roundup they had, last year?
Last year, yeah.
And man, there was like half the vendors, half the attendants.
It's got to build back
the
up
indoor
people
vending area was gone. There's no mini bike races. So I love the Roundup, and I hope that it picks up momentum again. There's a lot of good people behind it.
With the Roundup canceling, Jesse James brought up the
Lonely
Star
or whatever. That was kind of a smart.
I was like, where the hell did this come from?
That's kind of a smart ass move on his part.
I didn't even get a chance to go up there.
I've
it was
never
so
been there,
quick.
but I do want to go. And I've had friends that go, and they love it.
We went.
What they say is it's kind of like Roundup when Roundup was first starting.
Exactly
at the
what
other
it
location.
was. You could actually park and walk across the street. And do your rounds. And
I want to do both. To be
it was
honest.
cool.
I want to do both.
If we could have, we would have took the truck and we would have parked right in there, and we would have had a great time. But we thought our truck was not going to be within the cars that were going to be there. But then we get there, and we're like, shit.
We're letting everybody.
Everybody.
Well, there's some badass C10s there. We could have, we could have just parked right in the middle of them. But so we get in our Buick and go back.
Yeah, but so back to the vintage drags though. So. there's different classes that run, and I've got friends that run in different classes.
Yeah.
You know, the Thunderbolts, man, they got some fast ass cars.
Right.
You know, Thunder Beast is one of them.
Yeah. That's
they got
Rocky.
some-
That's Big
Oscar
Bob.
in his nitro truck.
Yep, they got
Busted his rear end. No,
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah,
He did not. We're laughing.
Did he fall down?
They put nitro in the oil.
the rear end in the
But
truck.
yeah,
I'm just kidding, Oscar. Love you,
it
buddy.
left him behind. We were behind
Left him
him
on
the
his
whole
ass.
way.
I love Oscar.
We left handprints on the tailgate. Me, Bear burnt out a sandal. He fucking flipped it. He lost it.
I know, dude.
So he was like on one foot. Like, damn. That was funny.
Dude, Bear's got them Croc ETs.
Dude,
Yeah, he's got to
he,
watch it.
he blew him out, man.
Oh, man.
He went to go help us. I'm
Nah,
like, dude,
Bear's
you
a
don't,
good dude.
you don't have no shoe, dude. What happened?
Yeah,
Oh, fuck,
got
dude, I
stuck.
left it over there.
He got
got
stuck
stuck
in
in
the
the
traffic.
Dude, I don't know what he did, but he was just 1 foot dude. So
he got one regular foot, one Walmart foot.
yeah, it was funny. But
But
yeah.
that event is awesome.
It's
I
great.
love the
Yeah.
fast cars, but you know, I do enjoy racing, but I like the weird type of racing. Like I like sports car rallies.
Yeah.
I've done that with the British crap.
Right.
You know,
have you gone to the F1 and maybe
I haven't. I
checked
did
it out
a,
or race?
vintage autocross there.
Okay.
And it was all right. I'm not a big fan of autocross.
Yeah.
But the vintage drags is cool because they have the leisure class.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna drop a name, Donnie Die.
Oh, goddamn, Donnie. He's back. Donnie, you're supposed to do a
this is hilarious.
podcast again, dude.
So I've
Yeah.
only met Donnie, I
Yeah.
think, one time in my entire
Dude, I've
life.
known
But,
Donnie.
but that was enough because that guy makes a really big impression on you.
He does.
And so years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I still have the car, 63 Thunderbird convertible, pretty much bone stock,
Yeah.
except for dual exhaust. Very basic mods.
Right.
Did he
to
sell
it.
you a toilet? What happened?
I used a toilet. It might have been his. I don't know. I haven't checked my bank statement. He might have rented it to me. No, but so
two
I
for
wanted,
one,
so,
two for
so,
one.
So I wanted to run this
3 for
thing,
5.
and I think I pulled in behind him, or he was in front of me, or whatever. And at the time, I think he sold the car, but he had like a first generation Falcon Ranchero.
Yeah, he did.
With like a 144, 170, and
We had
1.6
3 at
in
one
it.
point, yeah.
Yeah, a little white one, if I recall. And he was there, and you know what's funny is I've raced a lot on the street.
Yeah.
Like just for fun, not
Yeah.
real fast stuff.
Yeah,
Just with buddies. But you know, I'd only been to a drag strip, which is Little River,
Yeah.
one time before, and it was like 10 years before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know how this thing works anymore. And so I
Yeah.
walked up to Donnie, and I forgot what I asked him. I think I just like, man, how does this thing work? I want to race. And man, he took me under his wing. He was like, yeah, you know, you got to go. This is how you stage. You know, run it like 2 or 3 times.
Get
Whatever
used
your
to it.
lowest number is, drop it by like
Either
2/10
the
of a
bug
second.
bites or you kind of leave with.
Yeah, and what's funny was he taught me so well. I beat him.
Oh,
So,
shit.
No, there's a good video,
Yeah.
and Donnie, I need to send it to you, buddy.
Yeah.
There's a great video of my T-Bird and his little Falcon Ranchero, and I mean, it is pretty much bumper to bumper, and I weaseled out on him at the very last little bit, right as we crossed
Yeah.
over, and our trap speed was like 10 miles an hour, but it was
That's
dramatic.
the whole point
It
of
was dramatic.
drag racing. You don't have to have a really fast car. It's
Yeah.
like I told Josh here's our camera dude here. He's like, Dad, I want to go race the car. I said, dude, no, you don't want to race this car because you're not used to that kind of power. But
Yeah.
I said, but if you want to go, they had the guy even threw in a mini bike class.
Yeah.
I said, you built that mini bike when you were like 12, and it was modified, and I had it like tuned down so he couldn't get full throttle, so he thought it was a turd. I said, hey, you want to take a mini bike? You want to know what it's like to be in the drag strip? Let's wake up your mini bike. So he pulled it out, and we started, take the governor off and opened up the carburetor and some other shit. He goes up there, and what does he do? He pulls that mini bike out from underneath him. It goes up in the air, swings. I mean, he's swinging it around like a damn jumper rope, and he gets on it and keeps on going. But it wasn't the fact that he went super fast. It was the fact that he just got to.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun.
and he enjoyed the hell out of it. So, but like I said, for some people, it's not it. Like you won't never catch me going around cones. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I may watch it, hoping they'll wreck or they'll lose.
Yeah,
Or
right.
something will happen.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
ooh, you busted your car.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's drag racing is something else. Buck here,
It is a lot of fun because you can just kind of jump into it, you know. And honestly, Donnie kind of got me addicted to it
Yeah.
because the next year, Vintage Drags came around, and I was like, "Oh yeah, leisure class." And then I messaged him, and I want to say he was like, "Oh man, I sold the car, or you couldn't make it, or whatever." I know he sold the car.
Yeah.
I was like, "Dang, it's kind of my leisure class buddy." And so I've kind of made it a habit to race something really weird. And so I've got pictures of my 63 T-Bird inline, and there's like a Challenger with a huge, mailbox hood scoop. There's a gasser next to me. And I mean, there's like my driving this Daisy Thunderbird convertible,
And
bone
just,
stock on wire wheels. It looks like I'm lost.
Hand out the window, cigarette.
Dude, for real, yeah, for real. And I got my helmet on for my 50-mile-an-hour trap speeder. Or the hell it was.
Oh man! Yeah.
And then so the next year, I had a International Scout 800.
No,
oh really?
In 1967, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run this turd.
You catch the bug. That's the way
I ran it, and what's funny was I actually broke out. I could not believe it.
Oh no!
That thing had the original International Harvester 266 baby V8 in this thing. First year for the V8, baby V8. Made no power. Had Bill mud tires on it, and I don't remember what time it ran. It was something really slow.
Woke up, ate a sandwich.
Yep. And
it broke out.
Yeah. I woke up and we're still running.
God damn.
And so I broke out. And then I got down to it where it was me and a 63 split window Stingray, and he was in the stock class.
Yeah. What color was that one? Not the red one, because that's the owner of the track.
No. This was like bone stock.
Oh,
It was beige. It was beige.
Wow.
It was a survivor. It was a survivor car.
Yeah.
Had some primer on. It was a cool car.
Yeah.
So I ran him and he beat me. So I got second place leisure class that year. The next year I had a kid, couldn't go. The year after that, I raced the Highboy, the 67 F250
That thing went down the
4x4.
track? Damn.
I ran it down the track. I ran at 12.0 in the 8th.
Oh, okay.
Burning
I was
oil.
like, holy shit.
Yeah, burning oil, not burning rubber.
Yeah.
And
352.
And I won first place. It was that consistent.
That's
It
all
was
it
that
takes.
slow.
That's
It
all
was,
it
it was
takes.
consistent.
That's all it
And
takes.
so I was super proud. I got a picture of me standing by the old 4x4 because that truck is an interesting truck. It was an original Montana cattle truck.
Is it?
It was on a big
See,
cattle
that's what we're
ranch,
talking
like
about.
over a
It's
1,000-acre
fucking Montana.
cattle ranch, its entire life, and then it kind of got ran into the ground. And then the guy that got it from the original owner, his name is Joe Caruso. We're still friends. Through the purchase of the truck, he lived in Colorado, Florence, Colorado, which nobody knows where the hell Florence, Colorado is. Cold.
I know where
It's
Florence,
got snow
Texas.
and ice at least once a year.
Yeah.
And it's home of the Supermax prison.
No shit.
So the
maximum security.
Unabomber is there. Ted Kaczynski, Charles Manson.
Holy shit!
I'm pretty
That's
sure
where that
he
place
probably
is
he
at?
probably drove my truck at some point.
Yeah, he probably did.
His hauling ass. Yeah, but no. So that's what Florence, Colorado is known for.
There you go. Okay. now
And
we're
long
done.
story short, I flew up there.
Just say it. It's a Yellowstone truck.
Yeah,
God
right.
damn.
Yeah, I got my black felt hat and my trench coat on and my lever action rifle.
It says RIP somewhere in
Right,
there.
yeah, right.
That's funny.
Yeah, but anyway, so
We're
I flew
gonna
up
have to put
there.
some photos of that truck on our
Yeah.
podcast.
Dude, I got the video of it going down the track.
Yeah, what you said? Yeah, send us that.
Yeah,
We will put it
yeah,
on
if
there.
you want to see something really impressive,
Yeah.
like it made it to the end of the track. No, that truck is actually, dude, that thing is.
Well, if you don't like it,
dude.
just give it to me. I mean, I'll take it.
Like apocalypse happens, I'm jumping in that truck.
Yeah, they ain't gonna turn
That's
off.
my bug out
yeah,
truck.
you
dude.
get at the
Yeah.
durability.
Points, so it's got points on it and everything.
It's actually got a Pertronics in it,
Oh, shit.
but I got a set of points in the glove box. So
Don't forget
one
to piss in the
screwdriver-
radiator too.
Yeah,
in
it's
case-
popping.
Dude,
Put some piss in the counter. Just in
it's
case.
amazing. So the story about how I got the truck was pretty crazy. So I flew up there, and it was 2 days before Thanksgiving. I was like, I got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Colorado's
Drive it
not that far. Dude, the airplane almost crashed. We flew into
Oh,
a
shit.
blizzard. It like slid out on the runway.
Damn.
And I was like,
Almost cost you your life.
that's not what I was expecting. And so they pull up to the.
And I'm paranoid, man. Now you got me.
Yeah,
paranoid.
right. Yeah, so they pull up
We're
to
not
the
going to Colorado,
terminal,
Josh Hoptrall.
and I get out of the airplane, but it's through that that Skyway
Mm-hmm.
deal. And it's nice and warm in the terminal, and it's Colorado. It's a super small terminal. And I'm dressed like this: jeans, boots, a shirt, whatever. I walk out, dude. It's like 0 degrees, blizzard blowing through. I had to run back in, buy a sweatshirt. I was like, this is messed up. And the dude Joe,
This ain't Texas. What the hell?
the sliding doors open on this tiny airport, and I walk out. I do an about face, dude, right back in. I look behind me, he's cracking up.
No
He's like,
shit.
he didn't know what he was in for.
Uh-uh.
And so we get back to the house. That was a long trip in 4-wheel drive. He's sliding everywhere.
Oh, shit.
And there's my truck sitting in the driveway. And he's like, you're going to start that now. And so I pull out the choke, fire it up, and the thing runs. The thing runs like crap. turns out when I got it home, it had 2 burnt exhaust valves, 1 on each bank.
Oh shit!
And so this thing was not running right. It was huffing out of the carburetor.
Oh,
man.
And I had to drive this thing.
You drove it
from the middle of Colorado to the middle of Texas in a blizzard.
I was going to ask you, you drove that damn thing like that.
And they shut down the highways. They shut down the highways on the way. And so I had an old school GPS. I've had the truck for years. I had an old school Garmin GPS, and I kept hitting this a reroute button. And they shut down all the major highways, and it rerouted me to some FM roads.
Oh shit!
And then it shut those down. Then it rerouted me to like county roads. And these were county roads with no reflectors, no barriers.
Nothing.
They weren't even asphalt. They were like this
Wow.
red dirt type stuff.
Fuck.
And I'm in this 67 Ford truck.
Oh, you
running
fit right in with that
6
shit.
cylinders.
Did the heater work?
The heater, so what's crazy was it had an auxiliary heater on it.
Oh.
And all that stuff I pulled out once I got home. I was like, I'll never use this crap again.
Yeah.
And we had the ice storm. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
I
you
wish I
better
had the
think
damn
twice
auxiliary
again.
heater.
Some weird
Yeah,
shit's been going on lately.
Yeah.
Can't explain
I was like,
it.
damn, I need it back.
Past 2 years,
Yeah,
that'd be
right.
crazy,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
been kind of wild.
We don't podcast because it's freezing around
Yeah,
here.
what
What
was
the
crazy
hell?
was that truck, every hour on the hour had to be gassed up. That truck got
Yeah.
3 miles per gallon. It ran so
man.
shitty. And then...
And is it a 2-barrel?
It was a
The
2-barrel.
fucking
bro.
goddamn
It was a
motorcraft.
2-barrel
shit.
with exhaust manifold,
Yeah,
God
damn, not
damn.
hot rodded,
The
no
valves,
nothing.
yeah.
And it got
3
3
miles
miles,
a
per gallon, dude. And that was driving it easy. And I was in 4 high. I think I was cruising second, third gear. So this tells you how long it took to get home.
Yeah.
From the middle of Colorado down to Abilene
It's 2 days.
at 25 miles an hour.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Yep.
Is it because of the blizzard? I mean,
Because, and it was solid ice. It was
Damn.
solid ice, yep.
that's a long.
It was wild,
fucking-
dude. It was a wild, dude.
Well, there goes Route
Yep,
66.
yep. So do you guys want to hear kind of a funny side
No,
story?
go ahead, yeah.
All right, so this
I've
is...
only heard one story like you.
So this is the
coming
one
out of Colorado.
So this is one story that I was like on the way over here. I'm like, man, should I tell this story or not?
Fuck.
Let me take
Does it involve,
so let me take another drink.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's like one of those stories.
He's pausing it. Yeah, go to the story.
Does it involve
So this is just like a stupid story.
shot a deer, you carried it, he was alive.
So I get on the road.
Aliens?
It's freezing
UFO?
cold. No, it's worse than that.
Oh shit.
Can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but whatever. It's recorded forever.
How hot
Here we
was she?
go.
And was it
All right, so here's what happened. What happened was
What?
I was drinking. As soon as I tell you this, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I should have brought something to
It was
drink.
like a Route 44 coffee.
Yeah. Oh, goddamn. Did you have that? Ford owners always have toilet paper in the back. So, shit.
I was freezing my ass
Literally.
off. I was
Yeah.
freezing my
Yeah.
ass off, and I pulled into this like Citgo whatever,
Some fucking
middle of
badass.
nowhere, and they had this gigantic ass coffee. And I was like, I'm cold. That sounds good. So I
Damn.
started sucking down this freaking coffee, right? And I get going down the road about like 20 miles later, and I
Yeah.
mean we're still out in the middle of nowhere.
And they fucking go.
And yeah, I was like, uh-oh.
You started just going out the carburetor.
Dude, my valves are floating. And so I was like, man, where's the next damn town? And
No.
of course, my phone that I had at the time had a bad battery. It had to
Oh,
be plugged into the
goddamn.
truck.
You did not prepare for this one.
Dude, I thought I was going to hop in and do 100 miles an hour all the way home.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Damn storm.
Uh-huh. And so I'm trying to look up on my phone while not crashing in the ice where the nearest bathroom is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a Walmart. It's like 10 miles down the road. And it's in some tiny ass town. It's like the Walmart is the whole town.
And it's closed when you get there.
No, it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So it was kind
Yeah.
of a crapshoot, no pun intended.
Yeah, no shit. And you're lucky they even had a parking lot.
And so I'm in this old truck
Yeah.
trying to go as fast as I can. And it's a balance of like trying to crap my pants, trying to run out of gas, trying to make it to Walmart.
Seats
trying not
worn
to
out.
crash.
It hurts.
Dude, it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
And so I slid up to the front door, dude.
Like literally slid
Dude,
up.
I literally like hit the brakes, slid up
God
to the front,
dang.
killed it, turned off the headlights, and just somehow walked inside. This is where it gets really wild. So this was one of those Walmarts. Remember from back in the day, the Walmarts were all brown?
Yeah.
And they weren't super Walmarts. They were like a
Yeah.
freaking
Just Walmart.
JCPenney's.
Yeah.
Or like a wagon bag, basically.
Yeah.
Like There, you know, old school Walmart.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so this town was so old and so behind the times.
That's
It was,
old.
dude. They
Your
had
truck was brand new.
yeah, they're like, yeah, that's one of the late models.
A 5-year-old
No,
truck.
but for real, so, there was payphones out in front of this.
Holy
dude.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah, I could use a lifeline right about now.
God damn.
And so I go strutting inside. You know, I had my sweatshirt thing on. And
Well, at least you fit.
so, you know, I was like, okay, it's a Walmart. Even Walmarts from the 1920s have the bathroom in the front. So I walk to the front, I hook a left, and I'm just like, come on, it's going to be a photo finish. Yeah. so I'm rolling.
Damn.
And I see the bathroom. So I cut in there, and there's a, I kid you not.
Is it old man?
No, there's
Good day, sir.
there's
Go.
a cleaning cone. Like
Oh,
closed for
Oh,
cleaning.
wow. Wow.
You
It would
got
happen.
You got to be kidding
Kick
me.
that son of a bitch out of the way.
Dude, no, I did. I just kind of waddled right around it. I was like, I didn't see that. So I go in, and it's such an old school Walmart. There's one like handicap stall in the back, and then there's one regular stall, and there's one urinal and a sink with one sink and one faucet, dude. This
That's
is
a small ball.
1970s. This is like
You
the
have to
first
claim the
Walmart in
whole
the
bathroom,
world.
man. You
First
claim it, you
Walmart
lock
in
that
the
door.
world, dude.
Damn.
And so I make a beeline for the
Handicap.
handicap stall.
The best one?
I was going to call it something else, but you know what I'm saying. I got to be PC. Anyway, so I go to it, and I go to open it. Door will not budge, dude. It will not budge.
The fuck, dude?
And I'm looking at this thing like
Plugging
freaking
yourself
out.
up at this moment?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this thing like freaking out, like, okay, well, I'm just going to go in a regular stall. I don't give a shit. you
Yeah.
know? And I open up the door, and there's a black trash bag
Oh,
over the
goddamn.
toilet, duct tape around it, out of order.
Like somebody fucking
And
died
I
in
was
that
like,
son
yeah, well, I was about to. That was me. And so I was like, no way. And
Did
so
you slide
I go,
underneath?
No, so I go back, and dude, the gap is only like
Oh,
a foot
shit.
tall, and I'm fat. And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. And
Belly button,
I can't even,
ka-thunk, ka-thunk,
dude,
ka-thunk
if
on
I
all
would've
the
bent-
lines.
dude, bro, if I would have bent down, I would have shot the wall. I was like,
Goddamn.
I can't even move right now.
Oh, shit.
And so the only thing I could do was go inside the regular stall, pull up, and mind you, the plumbing parts were laying on the ground. It wasn't connected anymore. It was just a commode, dude. And so I do my thing.
Go
and I'm
go
sitting
warn
there,
somebody.
I'm sitting there,
Go
and I'm
warn
sitting
somebody.
there, and so I'm sitting there.
Somebody comes in. Oh.
Yes, the cleaning crew. These two guys speaking Spanish. And they're speaking Spanish, just joking with one another. You know, I understand a little bit of Spanish.
No, Miguel, no.
No, and then it gets
Miguel,
quiet.
no.
They get quiet.
And then it gets quiet. And I understand just enough Spanish that they're like, hey, there's somebody in the broken toilet. And they're not leaving, dude. They're
just
not
sitting there.
leaving. They're just sitting there waiting. And so I open up the stall door, and I just kind of calmly, I put the trash bag over, put the tape and the sign back over,
Holy shit.
and I walk out, and I look at them, hey, how you doing? You know, trying to play it off.
Yeah.
And I step up to the sink. I wash my hands with soap. I walk out, and I'm out to the truck. I'm like, damn, it's cold out here. I left my jacket hanging up on the stall door.
God
I'm like, well, I don't want
damn.
to die.
I said, "Was you gonna leave that son of a bitch?"
So you
I
went
walk
back.
in, and all I hear is Spanish, just 100 miles an hour. They're cussing me out, and I walk back in, and they get real quiet, and they're eyeballing me real bad. And so I walk in, I was like, hey, sorry, I left my jacket. And so I grabbed my jacket, put it on real slow, and walked out. But it doesn't end.
Did you change to at least a European accent?
Yeah.
They know you speak
but in
Spanish.
the words of Ron Popeil, but wait, there's more.
God
So my
damn.
truck was running out of gas. And so they had one of those old school, you know, gas islands at the very end of the parking lot, right? And so I pull up in the white truck, and I'm kind of at the very end of the island, you know, there's several pumps. And so I get out, I'm gassing it up, and my face is bright red. I'm embarrassed. I'm laughing my ass off because this is the stupidest story ever.
Fucking
And here
truck.
comes this like like a 2001 Monte Carlo, a white one, hubcaps, piece of crap, and it's one of the janitors.
Oh, goddamn.
They came chased you.
No, he pulls up to the other gas pump and he's talking to the other Hispanic lady who is in the little kiosk, the little gas station booth.
Damn.
And he's pointing at me and telling her the story, and she's looking at me with these big eyes, and she's cracking up.
I was like,
And that dude's all pissed off.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, clean that
Now,
shit
now
up.
Oscar filled me in. Your other half is Hispanic,
Yes.
so you do know Spanish. So
Mucho
you,
poquito.
yeah, but so you
Just
can
enough.
understand what the hell was going on. Oh wow.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
So my truck has a
Oh,
bigger
shit.
gas tank apparently than his little poo-poo car, and so he fills up his car, puts a gallon in it, and he takes off. And so there's
Yeah.
some little crappy restaurant next door, like an old school one, like Grandy's or something. Something you haven't heard of in 20 years, right? And so I pull in behind there.
More Mexicans.
I kill the truck, and I just lay down on the seat. I'm just like, man, this is my life. Come on, you know? And so I fire up the truck after like a 10-minute, 15-minute, not even nap, just a lay down, check my messages, chill out, relax. And I get going back down.
You're still at the crime scene, though.
I know, right? I was next door to the crime scene.
God damn.
And so I get back on. At that point, there was a highway that was open for a short stretch before it dumped me back off onto God knows what roads.
Red dirt.
And so I'm cruising, and I'm just cruising down the road. I'm like, okay, there's at least one other car in front of me, he's off in the right lane. And, I'm in four-wheel drive, and they're in a little car, so I guess I'm going like 2 miles an hour faster than they are. Bro.
It was that guy.
Same dude in the Monte Carlo. And I roll past him, and it's one of those deals where like I'm looking straight ahead, but like my eyeballs are looking at him to the right.
You're like that meme with Kermit the Frog.
Dude,
I would have looked at him like...
his window went down,
sipping his
and
coffee.
he had his finger out.
No, he didn't.
Oh, no shit.
He did. So I punched it and sprayed him with snow.
Damn.
I would have looked at him at the gas station and where I drive. I was like, yeah, motherfucker, you got to clean that up. I'm sorry.
Who told you to disconnect the toilet?
I'm
Fucker,
sorry.
it's the only one. Yeah.
Oh, but
There's
there was. So this is the stupidest part of the whole story. This is the stupidest part. One of the guys that was in there cleaning while I was in the broken stall, he put his shoulder into the door for the handicap stall.
And open.
It opened.
Oh,
And it
wow.
worked. And it worked. So they couldn't figure out why I was in there.
Wow.
Yep.
But you see, well, I mean, when you gotta go, you don't think straight at that moment. You know what I mean? You're kind of.
Well,
I gotta go. Your brain says.
he said they put their shoulder in it. I said, motherfucker, put a sign or fix the door, son bitches.
All right,
Fix
so
the door.
Buck, so you're gonna edit
Pinch
this
away.
whole story out of the story,
Pinch
right?
away.
Out of the whole podcast. He's like, no, this is the first part. No, that's pretty good.
Nah, that was.
And so I made it all the way back.
That's a
and,
great Ford story.
Down around like Llano, I smelled this weird burning rubber smell. Don't worry, the story's on the
Oh, okay. Well,
The
we
burning
thought it
rubber
was.
smell wasn't me.
I thought it was but more.
No.
But more.
Yeah. 10-part episode. And so, Llano to Georgetown,
Yeah.
it's a pretty good distance, but I kept smelling this faint whiff of rubber. I was like, what the hell is that? And I thought it was like a semi-truck or somewhere around me. Some semi-truck, locking up his trailer brakes, some bullshit.
Yeah,
It was kind of faint. I pulled over like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, man, is that the truck or not? And I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, oh, whatever. It's still running. It's running like shit, but it's still running.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it got me home like right before Thanksgiving dinner, dude. It took forever to get home.
Damn, like 2 days.
Like basically jump out and eat turkey, get drunk, and then the next morning I'm like, all right, let's go check out this truck. And my brother-in-law wanted to go for a ride. I was like, hell yeah, man! It's my new rig. Let's go. I
Didn't
go
start.
out and it wouldn't start. I don't know how old this alternator was, but on that long ass trip, driving 30 hours straight or whatever,
Oh.
it burned up the bearings. And the only saving grace was the belts were probably from the 70s, and they were so hard
They were slipping.
they were slipping over the
That's
pulley.
what you're smelling. Oh.
That's what I was smelling.
And they didn't buzz.
Damn, and that was up by Llano? Damn.
I know.
That was
That summer's been locked up completely. And anyway, so you made it home. That's a story.
Hey, but you know what though? It makes me feel better because there was one time when we street raced and we're out there on Burleson Road.
Yeah.
And we were in a 72 XLT. Green, by the way, lime green. Really nice, AC, the whole thing.
Wow.
But my stupid friend, Fernando, the driver, he got one of those moments. And we're on our way to a race. And this dude says, I gotta go. There was some kind of sour cream in the tacos, and I don't do milk. And I'm like,
Lactose intolerant.
dude, where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna go? We're on Burleson Road. The races are just down. You see the cars are. This dude just pulls over, hops the barbed wire fence. He had toilet paper in the back. He already knew this would happen to him. With the roll of toilet paper, he jumps the barbed wire fence. You could see him go, and he's looking at
Lacing fertilizer.
and cars coming from freaking
Lacing
Palmer
fertilizer.
Auditorium. Boom, all these race cars, boom, I'm passing by, and I'm like, with the door open, the dome light is on. It's the cool dome light too with the lights.
Yeah.
And this dude is just, maybe on the other side of the freaking wall right there.
Yeah.
And he's doing his business. And he comes back on. He's like, okay, I'm ready to go, man. So where are we gonna race at? I said, dude, just right. Oh shit, right there. I said, yeah, everybody done saw you, man. If they did do that on that curve, they'd shine some
You
lights
shit
on
in the
you.
burnout box, bro.
Basically, you shit in the burnout box. But at least you know what, man? It wasn't the only us in a Ford truck, just like that.
But dude,
that
those are
had
the best
problem.
stories. Just like I tell all my friends, if I didn't do anything stupid, y'all would have nothing to talk about.
Hey, there you go. That's what makes a podcast. It's you can't just today we're gonna make biscuits. And
Yeah,
shit.
like just on top of that, I mean, we're
gonna
not
give us a
candid.
shit story?
No.
You don't have a shit story.
Drag
racing?
I probably got some
Fire
of it.
suit, shit in pants, hot.
Well, so I also flip cars. Do I hear a funny
River-
flip story?
What you
Yeah.
flip? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought I said flip cars. I'm like
no,
cars,
by
cars. Yeah,
itself.
yeah.
So this was one that, to this day, I still don't believe this guy was this stupid. I had a 19, I believe it was a 62 Ford F100 unibody for sale.
Oh, those are cool. Yeah.
those are
Kind of
usually
harbor
fun, yeah.
blue paint job with white two-tone, kind of your classic unibody paint scheme,
Right.
And it was a solid project truck, had a good frame. The paint job was nice. Some rich guy bought it, and he took it apart. And he wasn't very mechanically inclined.
Yeah.
So like the wiring harness, I think he threw it out. But it was a nice body, decent drivetrain, had inline six in it.
Yeah.
And it was a very pretty truck, photographed really well.
Yeah.
And so I listed it reasonable, had a clear title, I think like $3,500, which for a unibody short bed with a nice paint job,
I didn't even know that they made
honestly
unibody
is
trucks like that.
and honestly,
regular
to
ones.
kind of segue a little bit, they are kind of rare. They don't make very good parts trucks because if one part's rotted, I mean, shit, the bed and the cab is all one piece.
It's all one
Throttle the
solid,
whole
yeah.
thing. and the only thing that people steal from them
LTD
is,
and shit.
yeah, and the only thing that people steal from them is a damn tailgate. So as soon as the tailgate's gone, dude, that truck is junk. Yeah.
This truck didn't end up in
But
a TV show recent in like the
No,
past few years because
I don't think so.
they took one. I don't remember what the TV show was, but it was based out of Austin, and they found one in a junkyard, and they took it and it was
Only one
that's
I've
the only
ever
reason
seen
why
was
they took it.
Reggie Hill's got one, but I don't.
Is it that black one?
Yeah.
That's a high dollar truck. It's got the big back window in it.
Yeah.
Very desirable.
Yeah. But
This one was
I've
like
never
his
seen one
truck, but it
before
was a
that
small
before.
back window, so not nearly as desirable.
Yeah.
Honestly, that back window doubles the price, dude.
But
that
can
what-
you put the big window in it if you want?
I'm sure if you found a donor truck, I don't think any.
okay.
It's not like a Chevy where
Yeah,
you
where
can
you
do
just
like
cut it.
where you could turn like a 80 Chevy
Yeah.
truck from a 3-window into 5-window. I don't think they do that for the unibodies. Not that I've seen.
Yeah.
But this dude contacted me, and he wanted a million pictures of this thing. And honestly, whenever I sell a vehicle, I'm very upfront, and I find that reverse psychology actually works really well. I'll actually undersell it. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
man, there's this kind of gnarly rust spot, and it's like a rust bubble. And then they're like, oh, that's not that bad.
And they think,
There you
yeah,
go.
you think,
You're being honest for real, though. I mean-
I'm not the opposite, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this thing is mint, and then you
Yeah.
show up and it's a rust bucket.
Right.
Because I don't
That's
like,
good, yeah.
I don't like confrontation like
But,
that, and it's going to be confrontation,
Yeah.
So this guy came down from Idaho
Wow.
in bad weather, and his son
Trailer
was,
and everything.
and I'm only mentioning this. His son was like, he's a nice guy. He was like 350 pounds. This dude, I'm only mentioning it because of the food bill. This guy was big. And the dude was big, and he drove down in probably the most gas guzzler. It makes my highboy look economical. A 5.4 liter Super Crew
Triton?
lifted on 35s, towing a trailer. That thing had to probably get 1 mile per gallon, dude. That old 5.4 liter. They're
horrible.
They're not economical. Took
We
them
have a
2
van.
days. It took them 2
You
days.
probably
They
spent
had
a-
to get a hotel somewhere.
That
Yeah,
small
we have
force
a
to
van
just
with
come
that
down
shit.
here.
Yeah,
Right?
and so I had the thing advertised, $3,500 or something like that, and we negotiated back and forth, and we settled on I think like $2,800 or something. It didn't run, but title. It was a decent project truck,
Right.
and it was a short bed, And he came down, and he started tearing that truck apart. And so I was walking around. I mean, I have my little counter strategies for
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And so my counter strategy is I basically ignore you and I pretend like I'm texting somebody, So you could be walking around this thing pointing out all the flaws, and I'll literally turn my back,
Yeah.
answering a message.
Yeah, what'd you-
Yep. And they kind of realize they look like an idiot because they're just talking to the truck.
Yeah.
I'm not even in the conversation. You're telling the truck how bad
We
it
have
is.
about 30 here. I've done
Exactly.
it over
This
and over.
guy
Yeah.
tried to screw me down to like
$1,000.
$1,500.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, not even close. And he had Venmo'd me or PayPal'd me like $500 deposit
Up front.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So he thought he was golden. He thought it was his because he had already
With $1,000
wired me this money.
Mm-hmm.
well, I've got a safe cash in it. And it's like, no, it's just not going to work out. No, I'm
give
not
you
going
money
to go
back.
for that. I was like, we had an agreement. I did not lie about the condition of this vehicle.
Yeah.
And this guy
And you
just
gave him
wanted a
all the
crazy deal.
photos.
Yeah. And what's funny was his son was even telling us like, Dad, we're up in Idaho. We can't find trucks with no rust. They had no rust. He's like, Dad, let's just buy the truck. And he's like, no, he's like, this is it. This is all I'm going to pay for it. I said, I'll be right back.
I'm gonna get your money back.
I go back in the house, go to my safe, pull out $500 cash.
There you go.
Hand it right over to him, $100 bills.
There you
I
go.
said, it's nice to meet y'all. Have a good day. I about faced out of there.
Yeah.
And I blocked his phone number and I blocked his Facebook. I blocked every way he contacted me. And it was funny, dude. I cracked a beer and I just watched him out the window from my living room.
Yeah.
And they're walking around the truck. They're walking around the truck.
They're
They're looking
still
at the
there.
house.
You're gonna have to get
And
it back.
they're like, he's not coming back out.
Motherfucker.
Yes, sir. And they hopped in the truck and they took off back to Idaho.
Wow.
That trip, I calculated it with a buddy of mine. That was like a $1,500 trip.
Damn.
They could have just taken that truck, brought it back home, and resold it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, that's probably one of the stupidest people I've ever
That
attempted to
ain't
sell a
cheap,
vehicle.
especially
to.
with the gas and like you said, the food.
Yeah, you
They
don't
probably
just
stopped
drive.
every 100 miles.
Hotel room?
Yeah,
Hotel
you
room.
don't just drive like that, man, and then just
I'm telling you.
when you already know the
Especially,
price.
especially if you got a mindset like I'm a finagle the guy, you just wasted probably 2 days.
But you can only do that when the ball's in your court.
I know,
Only.
that's what I'm
The
saying.
ball
yeah.
wasn't in your
Yeah,
court.
No,
dude.
there's
You can't
people-
go half
yeah.
a country away,
Nah,
bro.
there's people that do that.
And
You know,
And I guarantee you, they got back to like Temple.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, they tried to message me or call me, and this hit.
I had a friend, dude,
Block
that
their
did.
shit out of there.
Yep.
I had a friend that did not know how to. Well, he knew how to sell a car. He just didn't know how you negotiate. Where you say a certain number, and they come back with another number, and then you know.
Start
and
high,
that's
like
kind of usually the game, and you know when somebody tells you, unless somebody says, you know, you say 1,500, they say, okay, here's 1,500, buy.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't understand that,
Yeah.
and so when he says, you know, he's gonna sell this car for $1,500, and you say, I'll give you 1,000, and then you're hoping, you know, you overpriced it so you can come at like
Sure.
12.
Yeah,
Dude, he would
that's-
get so offended, so pissed off, angry
Yeah.
that he was like, okay, well then I'm out of here. You know, he's like, no, wait. You know, and I'm like, dude, no, he's gonna just go back, say, you know, you'll take, put 1,600.
It's funny
know?
when you said about the traveling, because when we had that Mustang, we had that 91 Mustang, we took the big block out,
yeah.
and then so I had put it for sale on Racing Junk for $8,500, and it was roller. I mean, it was a solid car.
Yeah.
It was cage. It still had a back seat. And the guy from Oklahoma, he called me. He was back and forth. He goes, "Yeah, I got 3 of them, and you know, I wanted. Would you meet me in halfway?" And then I said yes, and then I knew how bad he wanted because things changed. I said, "Yeah, I can't make it. Can you come down?" He goes, "Yes." Okay. Well, he gets down. He comes from Oklahoma all the way down and looked at it. And yeah, he had a little, it was a white guy, but he had a little Mexican guy with him. And this guy was like, "Oh, it ain't worth that much." And I said, "I don't know what to tell you."
That always shows that you use a little guy.
Yeah, and I said, and then they were like, yeah, you know, I said, I don't know what to tell you, man. Y'all drove all this way. You drove all this way here, and that's what I said.
Yeah.
And but at the end of the day, they looked, and finally, yeah, I told him, I said, I don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like thinking, well, you got to, you know, he's going to negotiate.
Yeah.
And this guy was like trying to, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but
Did
anyway.
he end up getting it after all?
Yeah, he bought it. He ended up paying me $8,500 for it. I mean, they tried to work me down to like 7 or something. I'm like, I said, I don't know what to tell you. I said, I did have other people who were interested.
That car was built to handle that big block. I mean, it's not a shit car.
And the guy knew what he was getting because he had 3 race cars.
Yeah,
and
okay.
This was a race car. I
Yeah.
mean, but it was still street. It had the ignition on the column. I mean, it's the rope power windows.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was a nice car. It was a 91 Fox.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, to your point, if they really wanted it, they could have bought it.
Right.
And like I said,
Yeah.
they could have. If he didn't like the price, he could have sold it and make some money.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point being is, like I said, you don't have to sell it, and then for them to come all that way
yeah.
and go home with nothing, well, fuck, you just wasted a trip and a lot
Boy,
of money.
and the one liner that I threw at him because he was really irritating me was he's like, well, how come, you know, $1,500 won't buy this truck? I was like, because that's what I paid for it. I want to make some money.
Yeah, you
I
can be
told him
honest.
straight up, and he didn't like that. I was like,
Yeah.
why?
Like I said,
You know, whenever
I'm an American. It's the American way.
that's what they do. You get make money.
Welcome to America.
That's it.
what is a gas monkey garage? You know,
Yeah.
they love to
Yeah.
to take the camera on the road when they're gonna go buy a car. And
then he's working somebody over.
He's working somebody over just like this guy's trying to. So either I guess they like to take pointers from Gas Monkey Garage, hoping that you'll be like, eh.
And that's the funny thing, dude, is you know
I
I do sell quite a bit of cars and trucks and whatever, you know, and I love it whenever some newbie watches a YouTube video on how to buy a car, and I can spot it. And they do. I didn't even know that existed. I love it. It cracks me up because they do the whole thing where they, just like the YouTube video says, they walk around and they don't say anything. They start pointing to everything, kind of this and that. But guess what? It doesn't work if I'm turned around.
Yeah, it don't work.
I'm looking at my phone.
Yeah.
And it's funny, dude. I've seen people
tactic.
make like 5 laps around a car, pointing at the same dent, looking at me to see if I'm looking at them. I'm like, hell no, I know what you're doing.
They look at the same
I
exact
was like,
dent.
guess what? I know that dent's there. Price stays.
I already know. Yeah. Usually when I buy something, you know, like I'll buy stuff, but usually it's only because I'm gonna keep it, you know. Yeah. So I don't go to buy and flip.
Yeah.
So usually when I go to somewhere and I see something, I already know this is the price that he gave. I'm not gonna dick with the guy.
Yeah.
I wanted that.
If it's worth
the
it. The
price was I already you know put it in my head. It's worth it.
Yeah.
So I don't even dick around. You know,
and what's funny is
unless you want a 12-pack of beer, then I'll just you know.
Yeah, that's it.
you know,
I'm
whatever.
still waiting on my 12-pack of beer to do this podcast. What the hell, man?
Next
I warn
time.
you.
Next time.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah, we'll bring some sour cream. You know, sour cream.
Yeah. Free beer tomorrow. Well, so what's funny is,
Cup
you know,
of coffee.
like even though I do enjoy, you know, buying and selling cars, I am honestly the friendliest, best buyer you'll ever see because.
Buyer. I don't. You say seller.
No, buyer. Because I don't. Yeah. Because I know what I like to hear when people come to buy from me, and that's how I am with them.
Right.
And so if I see a truck stuck out in the woods, first thing I mention is, "Hey, man, I've got a big 4-wheel drive truck. I've got a trailer with a big winch on it. I don't need any help loading it.
Okay, yeah.
And you know, this is my offer. And what I tell people, once I get there, I'm not going to pick it apart. I'm just going to hand you the money and just leave me alone. I'll load it up." Yeah. And dude, that gets so many deals because people are lazy.
They think like, I gotta get to pull some bitch out.
People are so lazy. And honestly, you can prey on that.
Yeah. Because that's why the shit's sitting out there in the first place. Because they don't want
to make it what they want to hear.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, if it's if you see a truck out in the woods and it's got no tires, no wheels on it, you know, and you're like, oh, well, do you have a tractor? Can you help me load it? This and that. People don't want to hear that. They don't even respond back to you.
Yeah.
If you say, hey, I'll give you this much and I'll get it myself, you just gotta count the money. Dude, every time. And it also helps, like recently I bought the 80 Jeep Renegade. Yeah. And it was priced very well for an original paint Survivor Jeep. And it was priced so well, he listed it Wednesday morning. I saw it Wednesday morning, and I was like the 4th guy in line. And I was like, hey, dude, I got the cash. I'll pay you what you're asking.
Yeah. You're going to hold off? Or?
And he was outside of, he was down off of I-10, somewhere outside of San Antonio. Yeah. And anyway, you know, I just shot him the message. He's like, well, there's one guy in front of you. He made the same offer. Well, that guy, he bailed out because he worked for some job where he was dispatched, some sort of a service person, I don't know. And they dispatched him wrong that day. He had to go to the other side of San Antonio. And this guy was like, hey, dude, first come, first serve. And I was like, I'm right here. Right there.
That's the way it goes.
Right there. And so, you know, anybody that wants to get into it, man, have a truck and a trailer ready to go.
And cash.
So do you plan on
I've swooped in and got a lot of good deals that way.
Do you plan on buying more Ford trucks and building up your inventory? I mean, you already have a lot, but do you plan on putting more or what's in the future for you?
I got a few that I need to go pick up. Yeah. But man, we kind of hit that weird deal where, you know, the used car market for everything just went through the roof, right?
Yeah.
You know. You know, a 2000 Super Duty was worth $40,000 all of a sudden.
I know.
And,
total BS.
I won't even touch it, but let's just say the used car market right now in SUVs and trucks.
Yeah. Well, it's coming back down in a hurry, dude.
But they're hard to find right now for some reason because of the pricing that they're doing.
And so what happened is it was like a trickle down effect where, you know, okay, you know, this $100,000 new truck is worth $115 markup over MSRP. Well, that crap trickled down all the way down to parts trucks, all the way down to junk.
Well, I know, man. It's
where
horrible.
You know, a junk Fox body 4-cylinder coupe was $500, you know, with half the pieces missing. Now it's $2,500. It's a project. That was the thing that cracked me up, dude. All these parts trucks, I literally saw 2 trucks that they deleted the ad, put it back up with the same picture.
Double the
At
price.
first it said parts truck, now it said project truck. I was like, no, it's still a parts truck.
Yeah,
it's
it's the
rotted
same
out
one,
and it's
buddy.
wrecked.
Yeah.
So I've had to kind of overcome that, and now that the market is tanking, thank God,
Yeah.
or correcting, as
Right,
they say.
right,
Yeah,
right.
correcting.
The project trucks are now flipping back down to parts trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was I had a guy.
I do need to get some more, but it'll be a little while.
True.
Yeah.
So about how many do you have right now as that you can count? Like,
You got a warrant?
no.
You got a word? Tell me.
No, I don't know, man. Probably 20 or something.
That's still good.
But I
That's
got a lot
still
of
good.
cabs, and
Yeah.
honestly, it looks like the yard is kind of full, but it's really
Bunch of parts.
a lot of it is a lot of it has been
apart.
picked through. So
I
the
know,
other-
we
the other
couldn't get
side
the
of it
bumper
is
guards.
Yeah, I know,
They're
right? Yeah, so
gone.
it's like So the other side. So here's the deal with the parts: is there's like 5 things that go really fast: bumpers, grills, trim, disc brake front ends.
Did my brother take the doors that had the clips on it?
Yes.
He took it just because he knows that those are hard to get a hold of, and he put his trim on his doors with I guess new clips or something. And
imagine.
the first time he actually says, "Hey, I'm gonna take my truck." Josh sold him we gave him the chicken coop that we built. So he says, "Well, I need some wood, so I'm gonna go rebuild it back." So he takes his truck for the first time. He goes, I don't know, somewhere down on top of somewhere, and as he loaded the wood and he took off and he came out. The fucking trim falls on the damn street. And he put the brakes on because he's like, shit, that stuff's expensive. So he's like making sure no car would run over it.
Yeah.
So I guess when he saw the doors there and it still had, he's like, nah, I think I'll just take those. And it's decent enough for me. I can walk away. And then I guess he also got some decent rearview mirrors or something like that too.
Yeah, side view mirrors. Yeah.
Were they the big ones or the little small square ones?
From like an 80 to 86.
Okay. Yeah, those are still pretty cool. Well, shit, how much time do we have?
Well, I was gonna get into one more thing. We're about to our. So
cool.
with the roundup, do you do like the crawl? Do you do all
How
that?
did you get into that?
Yeah,
How
so
did
this
you
is
get-
the most.
Are you at the-
So delete the rest of everything I just said. This is the most important part of the whole
Are
thing.
you at the beginning of the trail or at the end or in the middle? Where are you?
So I'm very proud to say that I somehow half-assed my way into being like the very first
You're
stop
one of the
for this
Lone
local
Star dudes.
area.
You're a Lone Star dude.
Well,
I
let's
guess
go
so.
into
I do love
more
Lone Star
detail.
beer.
So let's pretend like the podcast world doesn't know what's going on. So kind of fill in.
Tell us what the Lone Star Roundup is.
yeah.
Why do people need to know about it if they don't know about it in drag race world, whatever?
Whatever show car, whatever.
what is it?
And what do you?
what kind of
how-
cars?
And
yeah.
so for legal purposes, I am not an official spokesperson for the
Of
Lonestar
course.
Roundup.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
you're just an Austin participant.
No, but I've been going there for well over a decade.
Yeah.
So it's 1963 and older, traditional customs, traditional hot rods. Even though there's some stuff in that's questionable.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that. And the official days, I believe, are just Friday and Saturday at the Travis County Expo Center.
In Austin, Texas.
Those are the official days. But, and I've been told this before, the most fun day is Thursday.
Yep.
Because it's pre-party day.
There you go.
So it starts off at my shop, Monadale Garage, which is just on the north side of Hutto. So not very far at all. And that runs from 8 o'clock to about 10:30. It's not very long. My dad, Russ Salsbury, makes free chorizo and cheese tacos for everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, man, his tacos are legendary. They're legendary.
Legendary.
Dude, grease runs
don't
off your
get me
elbow.
there, man.
They're legendary.
best
Dude.
ones.
They're legendary
Oh,
chorizo
man.
tacos.
Those are the best
Yeah,
ones.
and so everybody comes out. They grab free tacos.
Just don't get lingua freak out on that.
And then some nice people. They do bring some stuff. So we got donuts.
Yeah.
I have a huge thing of coffee. People are cracking beers at 8 o'clock.
Of
Hey,
course.
no judgment. So hey, first beer of the day, and then so what happens? So 8 o'clock to about 10 and 10:30, we're all enjoying ourselves out here at my place.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, hey, let's go. And so everybody gets in a huge line. Some people do leave in different little groups with their little cliques. But usually people wait to the very end and they'll leave in a huge line.
Right.
And they go down to Byersville for
That's the Byersville.
the Byersville barbecue.
Okay.
I want to call it the Meatheads barbecue because
Yeah.
you know it's Meatheads barbecue, but I think got
They have a
here.
cool flyer every time.
yeah,
And how many?
kinda got
Let's say
turned
how
around.
many cars are we looking at? Like your place, I know Byersville has a couple hundred. I mean,
So my place is probably, man, I hate to put a number, I don't know, 50 or something,
Well,
which doesn't seem like a
well,
lot,
that's a lot.
but
it
it's but the place is packed.
Yeah.
It's super
You have a big
packed.
yard, but it's packed.
Well, it fills up that yard behind my house and down the street.
Nice.
So like 50 cars, you're like, oh, that's not very big. But now once you get there,
It's packed.
It's pretty packed.
Yeah.
And then you run down to a Byersville, and there's probably, I don't know, 200-300 cars down
Yeah,
there.
200-300. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then after Byersville, some good friends of mine, George and Susan, they have a private party in Pflugerville. Well, I say private party. It's open to anybody.
Yeah, roundup party.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's a roundup party.
Right.
And man, they make their own barbecue there, dips and beans. I mean, they make
Everything.
there. And
Wow.
you go there, they got a good band going.
Yeah, I heard about
Yep.
the live
And then
band.
so that's one. So after my place and then Byersville, it usually splits off like three ways. Some people go downtown. Some people go out to George and Susan's, and then the other one is a Gaston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
Grease
guy.
trap.
You need to get Gaston
Yeah.
on your podcast. That dude is super cool.
I know. I meet him
He's
every
keeping
time I'm out.
Rockabilly
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's keeping Rockabilly alive. He does an event every month. You know, I don't want to give away his whole deal,
Yeah,
but
we
He's a
can
good
get-
mechanic too. Good tuner.
very good mechanic.
Yeah.
He builds his own engines. He's a traditional hot rod.
Yeah.
Of course,
He's-
yeah.
Where is he from again? He's from Venezuela?
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yep, Argentina.
Yeah.
Don't say Venezuela, he'll kick your ass.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
And don't say Mexico. God damn, don't ever say Mexico.
Who's the other one?
Right.
He's German.
Marcus.
Marcus. So I told him, I said, hey, I didn't know.
Marcus would.
I didn't know that they played it. I was like, yeah, motherfucker. With the accordion, right?
So me and Marcus have a whole backstory
No
I won't go
shit.
into, but we're buddies. But yeah, I've gotten drunk and been stupid around him. But anyway,
So,
no,
like-
so
so, like,
that's basically your Thursday.
Yeah.
So,
My
so
place,
that,
Byersville, and then it splits off.
that 8:00 a.m. and that's falling to like after the party. That like goes into nightfall because I
Yeah.
do,
And then also Thorndale, the speed shop, they
Yeah.
usually
Oh, yeah.
have a deal.
That's Patton.
Yep,
you know,
Patton, Barrett, those
Barrett,
guys, they usually have
yeah.
a deal out there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now Friday, Saturday are more traditional.
Yeah, that's-
You're going to go down to the Expo Center, you're going to get your wristband, you're going to enter your car,
Yeah.
and you're going to party down there. And then from there, afterwards, man, it can go anywhere. Usually, the big places is you go down to the speed shop.
Yeah. Austin Speed Shop.
Austin
Yeah,
Speed
I went
Shop.
there last year, and then or you go down to South Congress
Yeah.
Right.
for the traditional
That's the
street
parking
takeover.
parking down the takeover down. Go down there
Yeah.
to Congress.
That's
yeah.
where the variety of
Yeah.
everything shows up.
And then Saturday is kind of a repeat of the same thing. And then Sunday, the big deal is Mercury Charlie. He puts on a big thing down at his hot rod shop.
Gene
there.
Whitfield usually would come out here.
Gene Whitfield.
Yeah, he did,
do a
and,
thing. A few times, a couple of times, or a few times. I don't know how many times, but every single time, man, I was like doing something. Well, my kid's birthday lands on the same weekend every time, and so I would always miss it, man. But he's getting older
He's getting
and
up in
older,
age,
and
but I mean,
but dude, the dude can still fucking bang
He's
some
kind of one of
hammers,
the
man.
last of the Mohicans.
Dude, he's
Yeah.
badass.
He's kind of like the last of the traditional custom.
the lead, or he does
He laughs
metal,
at
does
TIG
metal.
welding. Give me my torch, you know.
Yeah.
he does
Yeah,
some
give me that
badass
bar
shit.
lead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he does some
you're
badass
huffing
shit.
it, yeah.
So anyway, so that's just kind of cool stuff that you see
Yeah.
on top of lead sleds,
I mean, just
classic lowriders
Yep.
from back in the day. You
Yep,
see a lot of
traditional
cool paint
customs,
jobs.
yep.
That's the kind of stuff that I like seeing is the paint jobs that nobody does anymore.
So where can your people find your podcast? Because what I'll do is I do a poster every year.
Okay.
For my
Okay.
breakfast, and this year I'm going to do a schedule of where you can go from there. So it's kind of like a little guide. So I can email it to you. But where can your listeners find you?
so we are on podbean.com.
Paul and Buck Show.
Paul and Buck Show.
Okay.
At
Dot.
podbean.com. So it's Paul and Buck Show.
Dot.
Podbean.com.
Right. You can also look us up on any of your Samsung podcast
Spotify.
player,
Yeah, so I use
Spotify.
Spotify.
Go to Spotify. That's the easiest
Yeah,
one to
it's
go
easy.
to.
Okay.
Spotify, Paul and Buck Show.
Because if you go to Podbean, see everybody
You
that
got a
has a
Facebook page?
podcast. We have a Facebook
Okay.
page.
Yeah. It's a Big Buckin Deal Show on
Yeah.
on YouTube.
We tried changing it, but Facebook has all these stupid regulations that you can't just change a name or tweak it. Anyway, so If you go to Spotify, that's where most of the podcasts always are anyway. But everybody that has a
Spotify links
podcast
up.
goes through Podbean, and then Podbean just distributes it
Yeah.
to any Amazon. Like if you go Amazon Podcast, we're there. And that's only because of Podbean. So you don't have to go directly to Podbean. You can just go to Spotify, and you can find us there.
Yeah.
And that's usually just
That's the
you know
best
just plug in your earbuds and
we got many
close your
episodes,
eyes.
and I would like to add that if in the future, right, even before like the roundup or something, if you want to get some announcements out, whatever, or something about your breakfast,
Sure.
come on. And I'm sure everybody knows any fucking way, but I mean, it's pretty popular.
But I mean,
so-
for people to hear you,
Yeah.
it's a first if you haven't been on another previous podcast or if you haven't been anywhere. And this is what we were wanting to do, not just concentrate on one thing. We wanted to bring in everybody within the community around here, which is whether it's Barrett or it's Oscar or you or the drag racers doing their thing. Even the drag racers have businesses, so sometimes we put their plug in and we ask crazy stuff like for a while there the converters were being stolen, and so we just kind of threw it out and hey man, so what's the deal with torque with catalytic converters? He's like, oh yeah, so let me tell you, and it was a real cool story to talk, that nobody really knows about.
And you know what's funny is, I'm gonna try to wrap it up. But, so part of my business, you get stuff that you have cut up frames, you just gotta scrap it. So I had 2 catalytic converters. One was from my Jeep. Yeah. I owned the vehicle. There was nothing even in it. Well, I found out I was trying to sneak it by, like, hey, this is weigh it, give me something,
Right.
And then the other converter was, I think it's from a junk truck or something, whatever.
Yeah, man, that's funny.
Dude, I went over to Holland, and they're like, "Do you have titles for these converters?" I'm like, title? What are you talking about? You're like,
Damn, they're breaking down on some bitches.
They're cracking down on it. They're like,
Damn.
no, he's like, no, we can't take them unless you have a title for these. I'm like, wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, totally weird. So
Well,
they're still
I mean,
in the toolbox
that's
of
the
my
only way you
truck
can get
like
around
6
it.
months later.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they gotta do what they gotta do, but fuck, there's still crackheads out there that fucking, that's what it is.
Well,
Like,
so what it is you can't take those converters
Yeah.
to a scrap yard, but you can sell them to a converter dealer.
Yeah.
And you get a lot more money for it.
Well, there's dealers that go to shops that I know of,
Yeah,
based from
yeah,
what we know,
yeah,
and they'll buy their
They're on
stockpile.
Facebook. Yeah, they're on Facebook.
Okay.
They're kind of shady. So yeah.
Yeah.
Don't meet them at McDonald's.
Yeah, right. Like everybody else does. There's a converter and a gun.
Why
and
would we meet at McDonald's? I don't know. I just want to buy the bicycle here.
That's a good point. Well, hey, I tell you what. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're about 2 hours deep.
Do you have a web page?
Yeah. Do you have something for your business
Or
what you do?
Because like I said, I met you at the swap meet that we put on.
Word of mouth.
We met you at the swap meet, and I knew you were the guy I was gonna have to fucking hunt down somewhere on Facebook. And then you know how Facebook always, hey, you might know this person.
If you go to a Facebook Marketplace,
Salsbury, there it is.
If you go to
Click.
Facebook Marketplace and
There
type
you
in
are.
F100 parts,
There you are.
my ad usually pops up.
Yep.
Aside from that, if you reach out to the IRS or the FBI, they have my contact info.
I'll try not to let that guy know, but that guy's he's a dork. You don't want to. That guy's
there you
stupid.
go.
That guy doesn't know
funny.
what he's
Hey,
doing.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, well, I
and,
appreciate you. Nice meeting you.
Hopefully
Like
I
I said,
didn't ruin it, so I can come back.
Yeah, man. If you have anybody that that's interested in coming to the podcast, because he's local, he has some kind of side gig that he does, and the community goes to him. Like me, we're real big into Camaro stuff.
Yeah.
So we like 4th gen F bodies. That's what we do. I don't have a huge inventory of LS crap, but anything that's cool.
Still running 283s.
I still,
283
dude. I
strong,
regret. I had a badass 287. I had a badass 287.
What kind of hermaphrodite is that?
that was the first motor I ran was a 283. 283, man.
Hey, that thing, they're bad. And it had a Muncie 3-speed, the heavy duty Muncie 3-speed. So it was like cast iron, but it came out of like a 3/4.
So that falls in the same category as that straight 6 I was racing.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
old. It wasn't that fast, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was cool looking.
All right,
until
cool.
some fucking mice decided to live in it. Sold the whole fucking car.
Yeah. Well, thanks for
Along with
having
the
me.
mic.
Yeah,
You're
we'll
welcome.
appreciate it, guys. And like I said, appreciate you coming down. Like I said, we're gonna get you down again some more.
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
have some fun on a Friday night, man.
Yeah.
We can all have a blast.
I got plenty of stupid
Hey,
stories.
I was trying to bring Oscar
Unlimited.
to just make
Oscar,
make
yeah.
the party.
There you go.
But he's getting ready for tomorrow, he said, and so he's like,
You got to hustle some model cars.
I just ate and drank coffee, Paul. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
have. But no,
All
no,
right.
I'm big into model cars with him. He got me into model
Yeah.
cars. He got him into Hot Wheel
He's
collections.
got cool
and-
stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
so-
Yeah.
But that's another great story. So, hey, Chris.
Until
thanks
next
a lot.
time.
Hey, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, awesome, man.
All right, guys. We'll see
we're
you on the
gonna we're
next
gonna wrap
podcast.
it up till next time, next episode. Y'all guys be safe, be good. Have a good one.
BallandBuckShow.podbean.com. You can find us on Spotify as well.
All right, awesome, man. Peace out.
Laters.
All right. See ya.